Well, here we are then for another round of the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports All-Stars, coming to you from Circuit Spa-Francorchamps here in Stavanger, Belgium. And welcome along to this broadcast. Myself, Paul Smith, and Arjuna Kankapati bringing you all of the action once again here. And Arjuna, we're going into the final throws of the championship, and where better to start the European Grand Tour than here at Spa.
A staple of the series, a staple of the motorsports world, and we get to kick things off by bringing back what is going to go down in motorsports folklore as maybe the best sounding car of all time, the Porsche RSR. I can't wait to hear that out on track as we head into the closing stages of this All-Star campaign.
Well, let's have a look at the schedule here for the All-Stars. So they started off in the Cup car at Hockenheim, Manicure and Long Beach. They switched over to the 718 Cayman at Circuit of the Americas, the Red Bull Ring and Watkins Glen. Now, as you can see, we're into the 911 RSR GTE for Spa-Francorchamps, Nürburgring and Le Mans, before we finish off with the Mission R around Monza on June the 3rd. You do not want to miss that one. That will be special for the All-Stars. And, well, speaking of special then, here we are, Circuit Spa-Francorchamps, a track that I've been to twice myself, Arjuna. It is such a special, magical place.
One of the longest tracks that we can think of, but it's got these long flowing runs as well. Of course, La Source out of turn one. Now there's gravel on the outside. Fortunately, our drivers today don't have to worry about that. Plunging down through Eau Rouge, cresting over Radion, but still climbing up to the top of the track, basically at the Le Combe chicane. And from there, as you start to descend, you get a great view back over to the pit straight. This track used to be even longer, Paul. We somehow shortened it. We did not take away any of its character.
It certainly is one of the best shortening of a historic venue, but let's have a look at the different cars then. And one thing that you'll notice here is that both of them are 4-litre flat six engine, and very similar in terms of their statistical notes here. But Arjuna, this RSR is very different, isn't it?
Let's not forget the RSR is probably carried over in a lot of its core philosophies over to a brand new 992 generation Cup car. This RSR was about bringing a rear engine 911 into the mid-engine world. It still eschews some of the traditional sports car things. There's no turbo on it. They wanted to save a little bit of weight, and in doing so with that rear diffuser at the back, which just throws so much downforce onto the car, they managed to make a car that not only sounds great, Paul, but as you can attest to, is potentially liable for some hearing damage.
Yeah, I was at Spa-Francorchamps for one of the endurance series, and yeah, this RSR, when it came past, when I was sat in the main grandstand at the start and finish straight for the last 45 minutes of that race, and that car each time just deafened me. Here, let's have a listen in then whilst we're on board with Emily Jones here. Drivers finishing off their qualifying here as the last few laps go through here, but well, it's a special car. It's a car that a lot of Porsche fans love, is this one. We're not on the most up-to-date version, but still it's the 2017 model, certainly good. And if you do want to keep up to date with everything to do with PESC, by the way, head on over to the website iracing.com/PESC for all the information, stats and schedules here today. And also it's where you can go and log on as a brand new member. 40% off of all brand new memberships here on iracing.com. And well, every day's a race day here on iRacing, and certainly would love to have you along for the ride as well. But we're going to be going to the start of this race, and it is Pablo Lopez and Casey Kerwin. The two of them haven't been separated since Pablo Lopez came into the series. Emery and Dave Cam on the second row, Love 46 and Kenny 500 on row number 3. Fourth row for Quirk and Heike 360, with Stradi and Dan Suzuki, Jardier and Basic Ollie rounding out your row number 6. And row 7, Matt Malone and Borja Zaza. Well, we've got the last few set moments here, Arjuna, before we go racing. What can we expect here with the RSR and the racing around at Spa?
It's an aerodynamic car, but we also strip away any sort of driver aids that they enjoyed in the GT4. It's a totally different beast. We may see the order getting mixed up. Drivers without ABS are going to be able to struggle, and just take a look at that rear diffuser, Paul. You talked about the fact that this is the 2017 version. That diffuser, one of the things that updated over the years as they continue to make this car even faster, but it's one of the hallmark visual elements of the car.
It's a diffuser the size of the Grand Canyon. Is that it is absolutely huge, is that? But we're getting ready for the start of this one. The drivers will be looking to the starters gantry. Barney the flagman getting ourselves ready for this race in the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports All-Stars. Away we go, standing start for these RSRs. It's not the natural habitat for these cars, and already we've got a car on the grass further back, down towards turn number 1. I think it was Quirk who was out there through La Source for the first time as they plunge downhill now towards Eau Rouge and Radion for lap number 1. And well, if you are going too wide, you quickly sort yourselves out to single file. Soar up the hill there through Radion and now up over the top, up the Camel Straight, and it is an uphill climb is this, I can attest to that, all the way up to Le Combe. Emery getting ahead there of Dave Cam at the up in the race, and Pablo Lopez and Casey Kerwin are duking it out at the front. Oh, Casey Kerwin's off! He's off into the grass. Watch the rejoin there, Casey. Fortunately, everybody avoids him.
And I think that was something that I was hoping to talk about more when we get to the Super Cup, as now Kerwin, I think, might have to drop to the back courtesy of a slowdown, which is always a lot worse on the opening lap of the race. You've got to be careful when you fight side by side here. Le Combe, Malmedy, those are two very difficult spots and very dangerous spots. Just ask Jamie Fluke back in 2022.
Yeah. Oh man, that was heartbreak for Jamie, was that, I can tell you. But they go through Pouant for the first time, go back uphill to La Fagnes chicane. They're sweeping right and then left corner, head on in towards Campus, and then Stavolo after that. Back onto the old circuit from this right-hander here. He can drive the rest of the old circuit still. It's public roads, and if you ever go to Spa-Francorchamps, I encourage you to do that. So much history that you can pick out when you're driving around on that old venue. But heading towards Blanchimont, end of the first lap here, in towards the chicane. At the end of that first lap, it's Pablo Lopez has got Emery right with him, so Lopez hasn't been able to pull away at the front. Dave Cam, Love 46 and Kenny 500 all together. But across the line they go. First of 7 laps here, Arjuna, in the bag.
Go back and take a look at this side-by-side fight up at the very top of the track. Just a little bit of contact on initial entry, and Casey bails early, and I think that's because without any stability, traction, ABS control, he wanted to make sure that he just kept it on the straight and narrow, had to slide his way through the grass, but we can't control, all things considered.
Certainly was, and gets himself back on track and up and running as they go through. Up the hill they go once again on another lap, and well, basically, I tell you what, people have been very generous with their money here, because Ollie, you're in a bit of a hot situation, aren't you?
Oh, it's heat I've never felt before.
Just tell us about this then. Why are you in the full kit then?
Basically, I'm doing my first ever real race next weekend, and I showed chat my suit, and someone jokingly said, "How much for you to do the race in that full suit for PESC?" And I jokingly said, "Oh yeah, 200 quid, I'll do it." Of course, you can guess what happens next. So here I am.
So Ollie, what we're determining then is that next time you need to quote a higher figure, don't you?
Exactly right. Exactly right.
But how are you finding the RSR, back in the old RSR around Spa-Francorchamps?
Well, I love the noise, there's no doubt about that. Just wish I was a little bit more competitive, but I've got the perfect excuse already, haven't I?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Racing driver excuses well in the bag there and sorted, but they'll start fighting in front of you. You never say never around here.
Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
we'll leave you to it and take it easy, and all the best, and try and cool down between races.
I will do, mate. Cheers.
So basically then, joining us Arjuna, and if ever there's something that you need to learn in the world of broadcasting is never quote a figure that people can pay. Always quote something higher.
Yes, you got to go to the millions straight off the bat. You got to go high. I was disappointed. No Hans device that I saw there. So he had some neck freedom. That was not allowed. So clearly he was breaking the rules, and he's going to have to do another race after this with the Hans device on. I'm just saying, look on board with two drivers at the front, and two drivers that have probably had their fair bit of experience at the top level of sim racing in this car, because both the Pulpo Lopez and Emily Jones were around in the time when this was one of our World Championship cars.
You're making them sound really old there, saying that they were around when it was...
That is like, what, 7 years ago now, Paul?
Oh, right. Well, making me feel old now as the race for fourth is continuing. Kenny 500 having to go defensive there. The 46 is in there as well. Straddy's trying to get involved in this one. And we've got a whole queue of cars. The front three have broken away in all this. And Dan Suzuki's dropping down the order now. So there's smoke in the background of shot there. I can kind of guess what's happened. And, yep, there's those Apex Academy colours. And unfortunately Dan has dropped all the way to the back of the field. I'll tell you what, Arjuna, I wasn't wrong when I said to basically that they'll start fighting soon. Well, there you go, he's going to place.
Oh, absolutely. Spa's one of those tracks where we're going to see plenty of fighting. I think the Super Cup drivers are very much looking forward to this round, especially coming off the Red Bull Ring and Watkins Glen. There's still action, but there's more technique that I think we're going to see as well. On board, we ride with Lubia Otareskovskaya, Love 46, who has got some real-world experience as well. I'd be curious what we could do, Paul, in terms of throwing some of these all-stars into a real car together and seeing which one of them would be the fastest, because we saw some interesting experiments with some of our real-world drivers coming over to the sim. Let's do the reverse.
Well, here's Quirk then, involved in the battle. Look to the inside, and oh, that was a little bit ambitious, but Dan Suzuki possibly chopping off the nose a little bit there as well. Gets his car back up and running there. But yeah, I would love to see some of these all-stars, not so much the drivers in the World Championship, but the all-stars, get them behind the wheel and do it. But I think we've just possibly given Porsche a big bill now, haven't we, by suggesting that?
I mean, if they want to increase the bill, I can go and jump in the car as well. I mean, I'm sure they've got a couple of examples still hanging around.
I mean, I will, full disclosure, I cannot drive, so therefore I definitely won't be in the car, although that's never stopped some people before. But going back uphill, you've got the lead two then of Pablo Lopez and Emily Jones. They're duking it out at the front with Dave Cam, not that far behind. He's just loitering within 10th. And then you've got that race further down for 10th place. Quirk and Casey Kerwin. Kerwin to the inside, and down he goes. Oh, there was contact behind, though, between basically and Matt Malone. The two of them sort themselves out, and they do carry on. Ollie giving the place back. That's very gentlemanly from Ollie there.
Yes, redressing that position. That was great to see, although the send maybe not so good to see. I've been tracking that Casey Kerwin and Quirk have been fighting very, very closely. But let's have a quick chat now with Dave Cam, who's riding up in third position. You've got a great view of the action and a great soundtrack as well.
Absolutely. What a car this is. It's been quite a few months since I've actually driven the RSR. I forgot just how good this car is, and it's spectacular watching these two pros in front battle it out. Hopefully we can catch up.
We know you love the GT4, but that is slower speed momentum, has driver aid.
Yeah.
How much of a shift in driving is it coming over to this? I'm sure it's night and day.
It is really, but the RSR moves around quite a bit, and you can get away with more than you think with the RSR, so you can throw it around. I mean, it will bite you in the backside if you're not careful, but it does move around, which I like.
In terms of passing at Spa, there's been some fighting further back, but you've been running relatively single file at the front. When are you going to send it for us? When are you going to make things exciting at the front?
There's 3 laps to go now. I'm just kind of waiting to see what happens with these two guys here. Casey went off earlier on, so I'm kind of hoping one of these two in front does something similar. I would much rather overtake them when they're on the grass or in the barrier, because never enter a battle you're not going to win, and I don't think I would win a battle against Emery or Pablo, so we're just going to kind of play it out and see what happens.
Hey, let's go back to Long Beach and roll the tape once again, please.
Ah, well, yeah. That was, that was one of those races that went well. When everything just slots into place. Few and far between, as far as I'm concerned. But we'll see what we can do. We're still in it.
Well, you got some gap behind. We'll let you focus because they're starting to battle a little bit more now at the front because Emery's starting to get a little bit impatient. Tussling back as the field as well, Paul.
Yeah, absolutely. The race for fourth is heating up because Kenny 500 has actually got ahead of Love 46 then. That race for fourth place. You can see them on the bottom of the screen there. Top of your screen, that race for the lead as well, as we so expertly were talked through by Dave Cam. Watching the leaders just being patient. And I think you can afford to be patient around here to a degree, but with it being a long lap, you don't actually get that many laps of racing here.
This is also one of those tracks where it's a good thing that we don't have to worry about pit stops today, Paul, because there's one layout which has a short pit lane, and then there's one layout which has a pit lane which seemingly takes about 3 minutes to travel through because it wraps around not just around the regular pit straight, but then down the hill and rejoins the track just over the crest at Radion as well. It's not a pleasant pit lane, especially knowing that you can hit the wall working your way through turn one.
I can tell you from experience, it's even worse when your teammate goes and rolls the car halfway down the pit road on the inside of the source. But here we are, Kenny 500 looking back, and I'll tell you what, Ashley will never live it down. I can tell you that now from the teammate. But here's Love 46 just looking not quite getting there, but you can see the concertina effect on the brakes then. Oh, big step out there on power from Love 46. Up front, Pablo Lopez managing the gap to a degree, but Emily's sticking right there in the draft. And it's a big draft off of this car.
Yes, no, this is one of those cars that really punches that hole in the air. Pablo was one of our late additions to the series, joining us midway through. If I recall, joining us with the addition of the GT4. He's already almost inside of the top 5 in points. Now, Casey Kerwin is in a league of his own, but the top 5 all win Tag Heuer connected watches, and so we're tracking this championship closely. Pablo's trying to hold on to the lead, though. Emily, up the hill, penultimate time, not close enough.
You've got to have eyes in the back of your head here with this racing. That race for fourth, the race for 8th as well, Casey Kerwin. Oh, he's across the grass again! That's it, Lecom, and Quirk is going to come around the outside and say, thanks, you guys, I'll be taking that position, but Kerwin's going to fight that one back down into Brussels. Of course, Spa-Francorchamps, one of those circuits that like to change the corner names every 3 weeks, apparently. Here we are at Speaker's Corner, through the left-hander, plunge downhill then for the race for 9th place. And yeah, they're all trying to sort themselves out. Race for lead still ongoing. Race for 4th still ongoing as well. And don't forget, if you are new to this championship with the All-Stars in particular, the All-Stars, after this first race, the grid is a complete reverse, a complete inversion of the results of this first race to give us the grid for the second race. So if Casey does finish further down, it actually puts him in a more favourable position for the main race.
But we know he likes to work his way through the field, so that's not something we're worried about with Casey. Your point on corner names, though, Paul, we didn't agree which version of the track map we were going to use, so I'm sure there may be a case where we have different thoughts on corner names. I still call it the bus stop chicane, even though it is technically now just the chicane, but here we go, one more lap, 3 cars, still in contention at the front.
Well, it's not in the shape of a bus stop to start with, so that's why it's not the bus stop chicane anymore. But into La Source, I think we can all agree on that one. And now head downhill once again, past the endurance pits on the driver's right-hand side. Oh, we've got side-by-side action further back as well. Love 46 and Stradi are together. We're on board with Jardin. And they're not going to go too wide through a Rouge and Radion, are they? Yes, they are. It's a back out then for Stradi. Jardin goes wide. of the runoff. He was forced into that position because of the line that Straddy was in, just to try and avoid the corner cut there through Radio. Onto the brakes. No positions changed though.
Has this really been is this a 7-lap race? It felt like a 3-lap race, how quickly it flew on by. Even though these are long laps, it's a flowing track, and that's why Spa is so popular. It's why Spa is such a staple in all of the iRacing official series. We all know Spa at the end of the day, and so I think it's great for us to head here, Paul, in a car that many of our viewers will have raced, because they get a lot more of a better appreciation of the racing we have here today.
Yeah, and it's been good racing pretty much on the whole as well in this opening sprint race. Final lap of the sprint race. And well, Emily, she's not quite close enough to be able to make any move so far. Meanwhile, further back, this is Heike 360 and Casey Kerwin. They're together through the Fania chicane, and there's a whole train of cars here, all trying to duke it out. So Casey, if he strikes lucky, he could get more than one place, but it's going to be a tall order to do that. Out of Stavelot for the final time in the sprint race. And along this back section, past the kart track on the right-hand side there, and then towards Blanchimont and the chicane for the final time. But it's going to be Pablo Lopez who's going to go into the chicane in the lead and comes out of the chicane in the lead. He's going to be the race winner here in the sprint race, in the opening race of the day, here at Spa-Francorchamps. Dave Cam delighted with third place on the flashes there. Across the line, they go for the rest of them. And my goodness, it was close from 4th down to the 9th altogether. Sensational stuff through our field here in the All-Stars in the opening race of today's broadcast. And well, Arjun, that was excitement aplenty.
Just a preview of what we're in for now with a full inverted grid. No fighting at the front. Emily Jones not able to get close enough to Pablo to be able to really send a move. Let's cycle things back though and just take a look at Casey Curran trying to dissect his way through the field. Overly optimistic, forgetting this car doesn't have ABS, manages to lock up, avoids running into anyone though. And curiously, Casey Curran is going to be starting towards the front of an inverted main race. That doesn't feel right.
As much as he likes to go through the field, I think he won't mind though. Pablo Lopez is your winner by 0.6 of a second over Emery, with Dave Cam third place, really good third place for him. And then Kenny 500 led that queue of cars ahead of Love 46, Straddy, Jadier, Heike 360, Quirk, Casey Cohen in 10th in the end of that race, with Boljazazo, Matt Malone, basically, and Dan Suzuki rounding out your 14-car field. Let's just have a quick look at what happened in that race. And, well, there was plenty of excitement, and it all got a bit exciting between Casey Kerwin and Pablo Lopez on lap 1 up at Le Combe.
Off the start, standing starts. Not usually what these cars are accustomed to. We survived for the most part. There's the wiggle for Casey, and with cold tires, no driver aids, I think he decided not to really fight it, and then a significant slowdown dropped him back, and then from there he had to work his way forward through where the heart of the fighting was. Dan Suzuki having some contact through Malmedy through with Quirk, and well, just look at all of this action back in the field.
Yeah, it was tremendous stuff here in the sprint race, and if you think that this is all that you're gonna get, well, you are greatly mistaken, because the main race is coming up in a minute or two. And well, these All-Stars, they're gonna do it all again, but with that grid inversion. There's that move on Quirk through Brussels that we saw earlier in the race. But it all got a bit interesting towards the end there. Jadier thought he had the opportunity to make the move, but didn't get that in the end through there. But in the end, it was Pablo Lopez who took race victory here in the opening race of the day. But we have got the main race here then, so it's Dan Suzuki and Basic Ollie on the front row of the grid, with Matt Malone and Boljazazo on row number 2. Row 3, Casey Kerwin, your championship leader, and Quirk. Fourth row of the grid for Heike 360 and Jadier, with Straddy and Love 46. Kenny 500 and Dave Cam on row number 6. And the 7th row of the grid, the two at the front from race number 1, it is Emery and Pablo Lopez. Interested to see championship leader Casey Kerwin starting on the same row as previous champion in the All-Stars of Quirk. So see how those two can get on. They were fighting in race number 1, and they will resume battle here in race number 2. And well, these drivers getting themselves ready for the start of this one. Looking to the starter's gantry once again, flipping the throttle, getting a nice rendition of that RSR, it must be said. But now, look to the gantry, revs rise for the main race in the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports All-Stars. Good standing start once again. Great launch from Dan Suzuki on the front row. Matt Malone's made a terrific start from the second row of the grid into La Source for the first time in this 12-lap race out of La Source, and they're going 3 wide further back. 2 by 2 mid-pack. Casey Kerwin's already gained a place in this one into Eau Rouge and Radio. Drivers sort themselves out then up through Radio, and it's the run out of there, up the Camel Straight for the first time. This is where you need to be making some moves in the early going here. Whilst he got the opportunity, Casey Kerwin almost buck drafting Matt Malone into the Lacombe chicane. Rest of your field all together as well through Lacombe into Malmedy. And nice clean start so far. Oh, well, I was about to say that commentator's curse kicks in, and it's Jardier into the kitty litter.
And once again, Malmedy, trouble spot last year in the Super Cup, seems to be a trouble spot already for the All-Stars. Just keep that in mind moving forward. But now down the hill, poor Matt Malone's going to get shoved wide, going to run back onto the track and now have to defend from the likes of Borja Zazo and so many more trying to filter their way on through. Down the hill through Pouon, so much commitment, but in this car in particular, it will stick to the ground with all those aerodynamic pieces working with you. And fortunately, they all survived except Yardier, who I think may still be able to be dragged back into this one, because we saw just how long the choo-choo train was in the sprint race, Paul, and they really were keeping each other held up by how much fighting there was. Don't count out the 39.
Yeah, Dan Suzuki was able to catch up to the back of the pack by the end of that sprint race. I don't count out Jardier, not by a long shot. Meanwhile, Matt Malone seems to be a little bit the cork in the bottle here, because Dan Suzuki is trying to make a breakaway. He's trying to run away at the front. Casey Kerwin is right there with Matt Malone. He wants to get a race win here in this race and in this round of the championship. Quirk and Hike 360 duking it out as well. And now, Juno, we are joined by our championship leader as well in the commentary booth.
So Casey, talk us through what happened at Lacombe at the start of that previous race.
Just a slight contact there. Just me and Pablo were really close together and just barely got together. And yeah, I got kind of knocked offline, and I probably overreacted and overcut, but I didn't want to like try and still make the corner, end up in the grass, just go straight and cause a big pile up. So I just kind of went straight on there. But yeah, it was a rough start, and then it's tough to pass with kind of the big draft train we were all in, and everyone's really close on pace here. So it was pretty tough to pass, but you know, I guess it sort of gave us a good starting spot for this race at least. So we're trying to work with Matt right now, see if we can run up to Dan and see what we can do from there. But yeah, rough start, but yeah, we'll see how this one goes.
Well, they're playing pinball and bumper cars behind you. Somehow they're still all pointed in a straight line, which is absolutely incredible to see. I do have to ask, we're here in Spa, we're over in Europe. You were in Monza for the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. You had to fight your way back up to fourth. But what was it like being at the Temple of Speed?
Oh, it was awesome. I thought it was a super fun combo. It was crazy because we did the no chicanes layout, so you can imagine stock cars trying to fly through these kind of fast kinks at 180. It was pretty sketchy, but it was a lot of fun. And yeah, unfortunately, the curbs in Ascari bit me there early. It was probably the best pace I've had on a road course. I don't think I could have beat Bobby, but I think I could have fought for second. But unfortunately, spun around and had to fight back from like 13th with no yellows to get back to fourth, and all that was we're happy with that. And hopefully we can carry the same road course speed when we do Chicago Street Circuit now in a couple months.
I'm sure that's the exact same sort of setup in terms of how the car's going to be built and whatnot. Thanks for joining us, Casey. Unfortunately, we won't distract you anymore, but continue to carve your way forward. We'll see how it goes. Paul, I mean, while we were talking to Casey, they were all just trying to scrap outside of the top 10 effectively there for a little bit.
Yeah, they were all trying to knock 7 bells out of each other, I think, up at Malmedy. Take some sorting out of those drivers there further back. But it is Dan Suzuki from Matt Malone, Casey Kerwin, Porsche Zazo in 4th place ahead of Quirk. We saw Casey bump drafting the car of Matt Malone, so Casey's trying to work with Matt in that one, but looking further back as well, the paint job here on Love 46 as well. Great paint job, Arjuna, and really distinctive, really stands out in this field.
Oh, absolutely, and I think the 911 RSR looks great anyway, but I just love the little touches that we have in our field. We're joined by Love 46. Lubiov, talk us through the paint scheme that we've got on your car.
Yeah, hello. I really like this paint, and everybody wants to touch it, so that's why we got really close battles here.
Yes, no, there was 3 wide for a moment. Somehow you're all pointed in a straight line after that. How easy is it to fight in this RSR compared to the GT4 that we had a couple of weeks ago?
Well, it's easier for me because I'm more getting used to cars like this. Like most of my time driving GT3s and some Porsche Cup also, so I'm not familiar with the GT4 cars. But RSR doesn't have ABS system, so it's a bit tricky to fight on this track.
We're going to race with this car at Spa, the Nordschleife, and Le Mans. Those are 3 of the best tracks in the world. Which one's your favorite?
One of my favorite, I think this is Le Mans. I really like to drive it. And really like to do endurances and sprint races on this track, so I'm looking forward to this. Probably we can win a race here.
Well, looking forward to that. That will be the swan song for us in the RSR. Thanks as always for talking with us. Love the paint, and we'll see how it goes in this fight just inside the top 10.
Yeah, great. Oh, always great to hear from our drivers here in the All-Stars. It's one of the best things that we do here on the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports All-Stars races is get to know the drivers, get to speak to the drivers. I mean, Arjuna, I don't think that our World Championship drivers would be very appreciative if we started just dragging them in and having a chat with them during the race.
I don't know. I feel like we just have to incentivize them properly. For every minute they spend talking with us, they're allowed 1 free incident point. How about that? I like that.
Well, speaking of instant points, Casey Kerwin's been using them up by bump drafting Matt Malone, and you know what? This is really working here because Malone and Kerwin have really caught up to Dan Suzuki. Look at the run that Malone got there. He's backing out of it, deciding against the move for the time being. And but now these 2 have closed right up to Dan Suzuki, and Quirk, don't write him out here because he's dragging along Porsche Zazo Heike 360 as well. So we've got 2 groups of 3, and they're all seeming to get closer to each other out there.
One thing I don't think we're so worried about today, Paul, is tires, because these are cars where no matter which compound of Michelin rubber they were on, basically could do 2 stints at a minimum, 3 or 4, sometimes at a stretch, maybe at the Circuit de la Sarthe. And so even though this is a 12-lap race instead of the 7 that we had in the sprint, I don't think they're going to be too concerned. They can really use the aerodynamics, bring as much speed through the corners as possible, and have some fun with this car.
I don't know if you've seen it, Arjuna, but I got told off by Porsche.
What did you do?
Well, I caused Chardier to have his incident on lap 1, and they've said, can you not do that?
I mean, Paul, they're so generous to talk to us, and you're trying to curse them. I mean, look at you.
I'm really sorry. The commentator's curse is a real thing, by the way. I have experienced it so many years. I mean, I've been commentating on sim racing since 2015. It is a thing. Anybody who says it isn't, well, they can come speak to me because I've got the ears under the belt and the grey hairs to show it as well. These 3 at the front there, this is where it's at. They're really close together now. Question is, if you're Casey Kerwin, are you happy just sitting back there and just biding your time, or do you look behind you and start saying, those cars are sort of in and around getting closer to us, behind us. When do you make that move?
I'm trying not to say that maybe Casey Kerwin doesn't like this car as much as maybe some of the other cars that we've driven so far this season, but it maybe just doesn't fit his driving style, which is not maybe something I thought I'd say given there's no ABS and it requires the driver to make the most out of it. Maybe he doesn't think he's going to be able to break away, and so right now he thinks that his super speedway style experience bumping people will help. Quirk's trying to chase them down though. Quirk, how's it going?
It's going good. I'm hoping they fight here so we can have a chance to catch them. They're really quick.
We grabbed a look on board with your webcam just before we went live, and it looked like there was a cat who was very much trying to distract you. Where's the kitty gone?
You know what? I don't know, and I hope she doesn't return right now. I love her a lot, but having her jump up in my lap in the middle of a corner is kind of dangerous, you know?
Talk to us about some of the fighting that we've had with this car here today. There's been some 2-3 wide action. You've been part of it, including at the very start of our first race of the evening.
Yeah, so right at the start on the grid, I got a little nervous. I got a good jump start on, I think it was love 46, and I thought I could maybe get by, and then I panicked and went in the grass. And then I panicked and thought I was going to sideswipe the whole grid, so that was a lot of fun. And then a couple laps later, I got alongside Dan, kind of stuck my nose in. I'm not sure if he's seen me. Maybe I should have backed out. It was a tough situation, and we kind of had a little contact there. But it's been excellent so far. No big crashes, which is a surprise with this group.
In terms of incident points, how are you doing on that mark? Because Spa's always one of those tracks where you're either good or you're not good.
I'm actually only at 2 right now, which is about way better than anyone could predict.
Certainly me, if I was behind the wheel myself. We'll let you go and continue to try and chase down those 3 at the front. You don't sound panicked right now, though, I think.
No. I am cool, calm, and collected.
Quirk, try to hunt down the top 3 pole.
He certainly is, and do you know what? He was quicker on that last lap as well, so he is doing the job as the leaders are working. Paul's there. I just lost. So anyway, we'll go back to a bit of technical issues behind the scenes with our director, but it's fine. Matt Malone to the front of the field, though. That's the most important thing here, Arjuna. Malone has now tried to get there, and he's finally got there. But now, if you're Casey Kerwin, do you try and sort of make those moves now and work together with Malone?
I think Matt Malone has seen Quirk closing and decided he didn't want to wait for Casey to try and get past. And immediately, Casey Kerwin up the inside as they work their way down in towards P1. He's not going to have enough overlap. Now, Malone was the bottleneck in the previous race. Let's not forget that. So clearly, he was just sandbagging to set everyone up for his breakaway in the final couple of laps here. That's the story I'm going with.
Yeah, and we'll stick with it as well. He's certainly doing a good job. He's slowly pulling away slightly from Dan Suzuki. But now, Casey Kerwin, now you see Kerwin, he can see those cars behind, and he can see that they are getting closer. We're almost in towards having a train of cars here as we go through. So through Stavolo once again, through Curve Paul Freyer, heading towards Blanchimont once again. And Arjuna, well, you've got our race leader right now.
Yeah, Matt, it looked like you were a bit of the bottleneck in the previous race, but you've got some speed in the second one. You've come alive.
Yeah, you see Casey pushing me? He's my drafting buddy. We go way back.
And we did wonder why he was pushing you. Now you're not just leading 3 cars, though. You've got another 3 cars that have latched onto you with 6 to go. How are you feeling at the front?
Oh, great. I'm all freaking stressed out here. I'm sure I'll be fine. I think Casey's got my back this race. I got to worry about Dan, though. And, yeah, all the fast guys are coming. They see me up front. They're like, well, what's he doing up front? We deserve to be up there.
I do have to ask you, we haven't seen people being able to work through even this inverted full grid. Casey had his issues in the previous race. He couldn't work forward. How hard is it to pass? How easy is it to defend?
Oh, everything's hard when you're an esports driver. Look at this. I mean, I'm working so hard here. It's none of it's easy. Look at this, side by side with Dan. Look at, you think I'll hit him or something? Oh. Okay.
I think if you come out on top in this battle, you do have to give the assist to Casey.
Yeah, Casey's my man. He's my boy.
He's pushing you again. Unfortunately, now you do have to find your way back to the lead, but you've got some help. Is Quirk your friend, though?
Yeah, Quirk's my buddy.
Okay, so you've got 2 friends behind you now. Just make sure you get on the radio and tell them what the plan is.
Okay, I will.
So clearly some teamwork going on. Always fun to talk with you, Matt. Thanks for jumping in once again.
All right, guys.
I'm loving this, but like you say, it's always so much fun. Great racing, talking with our drivers, interrupting them, making their life difficult.
It is great to see this and getting to speak to these drivers. It's wonderful to see, and although a little bit panicked there from Matt towards the end. So I think it's trying to do 2 things at once. I mean, we struggle with it most of the time, but these drivers having to drive these RSRs on the limit whilst talking to a couple of guys on a broadcast, that's pretty difficult. Although they are experienced at talking to the chat.
Yes.
I will say that. They are experienced with talking to the chat whilst they're going along.
No, they don't have, they can't have any excuses about multitasking or lack thereof. So apparently the Americans have started to team up. We've got Matt Malone, Casey Cohen, and Quirk that will try and work together, as that's Borja Zazo inserting himself into the equation. Now, 2 cars seems to be quite good in pushing forward. If you get a 3rd one, are they going to be unbeatable?
Well, let's find out from Dan Suzuki, our race leader. How does it feel to be ganged up on by the Americans here?
Yeah, pretty good. Very comfortable, easy, chill.
You had a nice start, though, to the race, and were able to get that gap, but these 2 have been working together to close you up. How intense is this now, this final half of the race?
I mean, we will see. Like, Matt is... Oh, God. They are bump drafting here. So they're going to pass me both. But, yeah, we'll see. I think Matt in the front, he was very, very cautious. Oh, got too wide. Let me quickly focus on this. That caught corner here. No, we survived. No, I mean, we'll see. I think if I can somehow stay here in this pack, we could probably get a good result. But, yeah. We shall see.
Yeah, we will see. How difficult, we've been asking a couple of drivers, how difficult has it been to try and make the overtakes here around here? It's difficult with this car we've been seeing.
I mean, the draft is pretty strong. I think it's actually easier than in some other cars, but obviously, especially if you're in a train with a lot of draft going on, it kind of evens out, and that makes it more difficult.
Dan, we'll leave you to it. Enjoy yourselves and try and get to the lead again. All the best.
I will try that. Thank you.
So we're seeing just how intense this racing is, Arjuna, all the way through our pack. But this lead race has been a really, really intriguing one. And well, we said it was the Americans sort of ganging up on Dan Suzuki. Well, the Europeans are trying to get involved in Borja Zazo and Heike 360 as well.
Been dropped slightly though, and now Kerwin and Malone just slowly cantering away as we fly through Blanchemont, which in these cars is a lot less scary than it is in a GT3 car or basically any other Porsche car that you could race around the world. The level of downforce that you feel, it just always lets you work your way through the corners with such utter confidence. I think Casey Kerwin now is very much thinking 4 to go. Let's see if I can get to the lead.
He's got to be patient. He can afford to be patient, should I say. You know, he doesn't need to make the move immediately. I do think he has got the 1-lap pace over Matt Malone. I think that is for sure. But I think right now he's having a lot of fun pushing Matt Malone along and to try and gap out those cars behind. Because if you can gap out the cars behind, it just means that you've got one thing to focus on in the race.
I was trying to just figure out for a second what the lap time delta is going to be here between the Cup car and these drivers. We're basically right on the pace with what the real-world RSR 17, the designation for this specific car that we have here on the sim, was doing out in the real world, which I love, that feeling that we're getting pretty close to those lap times, and we're getting some great racing as well. I think the drivers in the Super Cup probably going to be about 10, 15 seconds slower. Of course, again, they don't have as much downforce. They don't have any traction control or ABS just like these drivers do. And so around such a long lap, those differences in the car are going to be even more exacerbated.
Certainly are, as we're going through Pouan once again. RU2 race leaders. Quirk has made it up to 3rd place, and Dan Suzuki's dropped back to 4th in this one, but if he can hang on to a draft, then he can get that one. Arjuna, you've got our sprint race winner.
Yeah, I mean, Pablo, it was a pretty fun battle, it seemed like, at the front in the first race. You were kept quite close there by Emily Jones all the way to the end.
It was fair play from Emre. I don't know, it was a little bit of an encounter with Casey at the first lap, but in this race I have a lot of damage because someone tried a 3 wide on lap 2 and crashed in front, and I don't have top speed at all, so I'm trying to get draft from Emre and get into the group.
How much more does damage impact this car because it relies so much on the aerodynamics?
A lot. I don't know the amount.
Well, you keep going 2 and 3 wide, which doesn't help the car, but in terms of championship, I don't know if you know this, by the way, you're almost already inside of the top 5 in the points, and you joined us midway through the season.
Yeah, I'm proud of it. I don't know how many points I got or I need to get perfect top 5 and get the Heuer watch.
I think right now, I'm trying to do mental math, and you're trying to make sure that you don't crash. I think it's about 20 points that you still need to
Kenny almost
fight.
crashed me now.
We'll let you go and focus on what looks like a very tough battle with a damaged car, but hopefully in 2 weeks' time, when we head to the Nordschleife, you don't get similar damage. Pablo is so focused on all that fighting because look at that behind. Emily Jones tangled up Stradi as well. Love 46, chaos through Lacombe.
Yeah, big drama, big damage behind, and well, we saw it in the background of shot. I'm sure we'll get a look back at that one, but that was a huge one. Bolgezazo's taken a trip back to pit road and is done for this race. Stradi and Emery are together out there on track right now. Jardier and Love 46 as well. See, Jardier, we said, you know, he could just carry on and keep on pushing. There he is up into 9th place now after that lap 1 incident.
He's never going to give up as well, right? He'll keep driving, smile on his face, and he'll pick up the pieces. He still has a chance maybe to even catch Basic Ollie if he's able to close, especially remembering that Basic Ollie's only going to be getting toastier and toastier the longer he spends in that race suit. Here's a look at what happened into the chicane, though. Emery just getting tagged by Stradi, and then coming through Love 46, nowhere to go.
Oh, and yeah, you're absolutely right there in saying nowhere to go in that one. You just come around the corner and all of a sudden you've got a face full of an RSR. So absolutely huge damage to Love 46's front end. You've got Emery with big damage as well. Stradi was involved in that one, and as well, Bolgezazo it was that made the initial contact in that one. There's your 2 race leaders. There's coercion going on with 2 laps to go here. Quirk is joining the party a little bit as well. Matt Malone, though, I think he's determined to get a race win. Casey's just sat there going, soon.
Let's see how nice Casey is still going to be as we work our way up the hill, continuing to climb. Matt, Casey, how's it going, guys?
Casey, are you going to be my friend on White Flag?
Yes. We can.
Are you sure?
Yeah, until like the end, you know, we can keep it between us 2, buddy.
All right.
So is this a gentleman's agreement? We're waiting until the chicane on the final lap, Casey?
We'll see. Well, it depends on what Quirk does, but we'll see. We were doing a good job there. We were getting away, and Quirk put in a really good lap and got towed back to our draft there. So, but I think it's just a 3-car race right now. So Matt and I, we were working together. You know, we were slicing and dicing, a little shake and bake. You know, it was good fun. And we got to the front, so we're going to stay together, and one of us is going to win. Quirk's not allowed to win. That's the rule.
Let's just squeeze Quirk out. Well, if he gets up here, we'll squeeze him out, make it look like an accident.
I think
I don't know what I'm doing.
I think, yeah, what we need to do is bring Quirk into the mix. Quirk, these guys are planning to try and make sure that you can't fight with them.
Hey guys.
Hey, what are you doing back
Listen
there?
to him, Quirk. Don't listen to him.
I want to
You're
join
lying.
the party. Look at me. I'm going
Get out of here! I gave Casey $100 before the race. That's why he's helping me.
It looks like you got a flat tire there. I'm gonna just fall over.
He's got so many damn esports trophies. He doesn't have any room for anyone anymore. I need one. My shelf is empty.
We throw the Chaos Grenade into this battle for the lead. Just remember, guys, final corner was the agreement, but not this lap, Casey, the next lap. We'll let you guys go off and battle Paul. I mean, this is so much fun.
I'll tell you what, I was just happy to keep them in here and just make our lives so much easier because we don't have to say a thing. These do all the commentary for us right now.
Look, Quirt.
What they don't know, listen, what they don't know is I'm gonna fly by them both sideways on the last straight. It's gonna happen.
Sideways?
So, yeah.
Anybody got a sweat rag? All right, this is it. This is serious business. We've been training our whole lives for this, guys.
Business is picking up. Business is picking up. Oh, here comes Quirk. Around the outside, can Quirk do this? Well, the answer is he's got Casey, but Casey's going to fight this one back. Oh, careful. Watch out for the contact there, Casey. We don't want any shenanigans.
Yeah, Casey, no shenanigans. You too, Quirk.
It's down to the lead now, Quirk. Oh, he's got a serious face on right now. We can see it right now. He is super focused.
Super focused.
Oh, running wide,
Yeah,
using
10X
up those
to use.
1Xs. We're using those 1X. Oh, nice run by Casey as well. Down the inside of Puor. That's going to allow Matt Malone to pull away here at the front, you know.
Yeah, why don't you battle back there?
Well, Matt's got a nice 0.2 of a second lead. I don't think that's enough, Matt. Come on, you need to pick up the pace here because you've got
Matt's gonna spin on his own. It'll be fine.
See, the problem is everyone behind me's better than me. That's really the crux of the issue.
Now, Matt, with that type of attitude, you won't win a race. You know, be positive. You can do this, Matt.
Okay, positive thinking.
We're coming towards Blanchimont now. Let's see. Oh, the flash of the headlights. Casey's going for it. Oh, this is tight. 3 into 1. Can they do it? You can tell the focus in the
Don't spin out, Matt.
Oh, that was beautiful,
Oh,
guys.
he's got it. He's done it.
Nice job,
I
Matt.
did it, guys. I freaking did it. Yes.
Nice job.
Suck it, Casey. Go polish one of your oval trophies, huh? Let me alone. Yes. Yes. RSR too.
It's congratulations to Matt Malone here today in this main race.
Yes.
We'll speak to you properly in just a moment. But well, that was sensational stuff. We do have to just quickly talk through the rest of the results as well, because Casey Kerwin second, Quirk in third. Dan Suzuki, he was in there as well as the celebration start down the Kemmel Straight. Heike 360 managed to get 5th place here in the Buzz post-race show with Pablo Lopez, Kenny 500, Basic Ollie, Jardier, Stradi down to your top 10, and then Love 46, Dave Cam, Emery and Borges Zazo right at the back. Arjuna, I think you've got the easiest job in sim racing right now.
I think I'm just gonna not say anything and let Matt lead us off here.
Oh my gosh, that was incredible. I'm on the broadcast. You guys are talking to me after the win, right?
Yes.
This is it. Oh, that was awesome. Hey, Casey, though, you know, at first I didn't know if Casey was like just doing it to help me out because we're friends, you know, but I think he was doing it for strategic purposes. Because
I don't think you're friends anymore.
Well, listen, it'll be fine. But he was pushing me. He was pushing me to get away from everybody. And there was no way I'd be able to push him. I think he could have passed me easily, obviously, and just ran away with it. But he didn't. He stuck with me. You know, we're friends for life now. You know, he's a great guy. He's won some oval stuff too, but on the road, you know, he's just one of us.
Casey, are you becoming soft as we go into the RSR? Have you decided you have enough of a championship lead?
No, man. I mean, look, Matt can attest. It took me like 3 laps to work him over in the feature when I was back there, and I was like, he's got good pace. If I sit here and fight, I know how Matt is. He's gonna be, I gotta defend super aggressive against Casey. It cost us 3 seconds. So I was like,
2%.
no, I'm gonna sit in line and I'll push him. And lo and behold, I found out if I could get a good run out of turn 1, we could tandem and just go 5 miles an hour faster than everyone down the straight, like as if it was a NASCAR race. So
Okay.
I felt pretty comfortable with that. We're in Talladega week. We did Talladega this past week, so I'm pretty used to the pushing. And yeah, we tried to pull away, but Cork got to us, and at least it still stayed between Matt and I.
Dude, it's so true, Casey. If I would have battled you so hard and let Dan just run away like 10 seconds into I would 100%.
Well, we could tell you right now, Casey Kerwin has a 121-point lead right now over Quirk in second place. So the reigning champion is there in second place. Never say never. Emery's in third. Matt, sorry, I'm having to get my binoculars out to see how far. Oh, that's it. 12th place. 174 points off there.
Oh, man. Well,
Well, you
Listen.
better enjoy this one while you can, then, Matt.
Yeah, well, I've been on the service for 10 years. I figure about year 15, I might make a run at it.
Quark, I do want to ask you first about the Chaos Grenade. When you heard they were planning to keep you out of that fight, what were you thinking?
I figured, it was pretty typical. It looked like Casey was just playing with his food, It looked like a shark there, just circling his food, just waiting for the right moment. And I was surprised that I was able to catch up, So I'll take third. It was a fantastic fight, so...
We'll talk about the car. One sentence from each of you about why this car is so much fun. Matt, since you won, you get to go first.
Horsepower, buddy!
Horsepower. What do you think, Casey?
Sound. Best sounding car. Great.
And Quirk?
No ABS and high downforce.
Oh, no
So-
ABS and high
That's
down.
2 words.
Interesting.
You violated
Yeah.
the rules of the game.
Listen. Okay, well, you know what? You just go off. You won the race. Just
Yes,
you,
I
already-
did win the race.
you talked enough. Just go away, okay?
Congratulating me, Cork. I appreciate that you're so happy for me.
Congratulations, guys. That was so much fun. We'll see you in a couple of weeks at the Nordschleife. Can't wait to do it again.
Thank you.
Yeah, well,
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you.
that is the comparison of the two cars there on screen right now. I mean, they can go and argue about it for the rest of eternity for this race, but you can see the comparisons there. The data says there isn't much of a difference between the two cars, but the racing and the speed and the lap times do.
Oh, yes, no. And, we're talking about a cup car that is now just... Porsche has sold over 5,000 of them, sent them to drivers coming up to speed. And what do they want to do? They want to get into the wheels of something like that Porsche 911 RSR, or maybe more topical for today, to make the step up like the likes of Lawrence Van Thor have done into that Porsche 963 prototype.
Yep, certainly. It's certainly been good for this one. Well, I mean, if you want to get more information about the series, by the way, head on over to iRacing.com/PESC for standings and also what cars are in and everything as well. But do stick around because that's the All-Stars. But next, coming up is the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Supercup.
Pop a bottle off of your chain swinging, clang clang, and it costs a lot. I'm always at the guala, yeah, and you are not bad. Keep on going till you hit the spot. Whoa. Whoa, I'm a big bag hunter with the bow.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
This is virtual racing with real stakes. This is fine lines, milliseconds, and 200 grand. This is insane. But that's what keeps us coming back for more. The Porsche Heuer Esports Supercup by iRacing, live on YouTube and Twitch.
Watkins Glen, we head on over to the Circuit Spa-Francorchamps for round number 6 of this championship, round number 7 even of this championship. Paul Smith and Arjuna Kankapati here in the commentary booth, and well, after the excitement of the All-Stars, these World Championship drivers have got a lot to live up to in terms of entertainment.
Helps if I unmute myself. We head to a track that we know, as a staple of the championship, always delivers excitement. It combines some of the best characteristics of the previous 2 tracks, our trip over to Red Bull Ring and of course Watkins Glen. Close, frenetic racing, but it adds in some technicality. It demands the most out of the drivers, with downforce being stripped off the cars and still having to work through some very treacherous medium and high-speed corners. I can't wait to see how it all goes, because it starts in qualifying shortly.
Well, let's remind ourselves of what happened last time out at the Glen. Round number 6 of the Porsche Heuer Esports Supercup. He's in the wall! He's in the wall at the final corner!
Now, Collins leads his teammate Campbell, our rookies, and he's just been turfed out of that invert that could have changed this season around. Hugo Pinto almost had the championship flash before his eyes with contact with Zach Campbell.
Oh, he's run too far wide. There's Campbell.
Asked themselves over.
Oh!
Eye contact! Pinto in the wall and almost up and over.
Oh, Ariel, 2 races in a row. He is a race winner here in the Porsche Heuer Esports Supercup. Green flag, we're underway for action here in this main race of the Porsche Heuer Esports Supercup.
Down to be able to get through safely. It is going to be Sanchez.
Oh, that's Kevin Nielsen. I'm going through the penultimate corner. Bastian jump, took advantage of the situation. Beneke, he's got serious damage. Contact between him and Lassie are going to go side by side into the final corner of the race. And Zach Campbell with another race win, and there's Job around right at the dead. Well, that was last time at Watkins Glen, but here we are then, Arjuna, at Spa-Francorchamps in Stavelot, and well, what a tremendous circuit it is, a track that these drivers all know very well.
Absolutely, like we say, staple of the championship. Last year, who can forget the heartbreak for Jamie Fluke? A lap or 2 away from a World Championship win after so many attempts. It was not to be. Zach Campbell was the one that ended up coming out on top. Elevation change, so important at a track that is 7 kilometers in length. As you climb up through Eau Rouge and Radion, you said it earlier, Paul, you continue climbing until you get up to the Lacombe chicane, where you get a perfect view of the valley, the rest of the track in this wonderful facility. Once over 12, 13, 14 kilometers, now just 7.
And it's certainly a spectacular venue. Here is how things are happening here today. We have got 2 qualifying groups. We'll get into that in just a moment. We've got a 6-lap sprint race. Then the top 8 of that result then get inverted in the grid for the main race, which is 12 laps long. These drivers are going to have to work hard if they want to get themselves some points. And well, coming into this round of the championship, you'd have to say, Arjuna, that there's a few drivers are going to have to hope for some mistakes to come from Jordan Caruso. He's been so strong.
He's stealing that label of captain consistency away from Diogo Pinto. And that's not to say Diogo hasn't been consistent when he's been able to stay out of trouble. For Caruso, with 4 rounds left to go, 4 technical rounds in some ways, because even though some may look at Le Mans and Monza as maybe saying, oh, there's just straights and corners that separate those straights. There's a lot of racecraft that goes in. We've been 3-4 wide at the Circuit de la Sarre, and so as we get underway with qualifying for this round, I think it's the one race before, of course, the Nordschleife, which is totally just down to technique, at least in qualifying, where drivers will know they can't just control their destiny with their wheel-to-wheel action, but also needing to get the most out of actually driving the track.
Well, here you are then. This is Group A of qualifying. These are all the drivers in positions 30 to 6th in the championship. They all go out at once to try and set themselves a pole position time here. And then Group B will go out on their own, one by one. The top 5 will then have a lap each, and we'll get to see each and one of those across the line to see who gets themselves on pole position for this round of the championship. And I mean, the pole position award, they get themselves a Tag Heuer connected watch. So far, for pole positions, it's Sanchez and Caruso who are joined on that run right now.
Sebastian Job got it back at the Watkins Glen. However, Sebi is now splitting his attentions, and so I'm very curious how it's going to be. I was hoping to have a chat with him yesterday to just get a sense of how he was feeling coming into this, but he said, no, I finished one event. I got to jump over to this other, to my sessions and practice on iRacing to get ready for today's event here in the Porsche Esports Supercup. And that's a driver, of course, that sits 4th in points and is coming off pole, officially crowning himself the Porsche Esports Carrera Cup Great Britain champion.
Yeah, he's been able to do that with a round of the championship yet to go. So congratulations to Sebastian Job for getting himself that Porsche Esports Carrera Cup Great Britain crown. Part of the Porsche Esports family is that championship, and it is a tremendous series that I do get to commentate on myself. So yeah, I get to see that. But this is where the focus is right now, and here's a driver on screen, Gustavo Ariel, who's really come alive in the last 2 rounds of this championship.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we knew the speed was there, even going back to the qualifying, the Contenders Series, but luck, staying out of trouble, maybe a bit of both, eluded him in the early stages. And so now sitting up inside the top 10 in points, and a good healthy chunk clear of the top 15, so he knows that he's in a good spot to retain his license. I think from now we should only expect Gustavo Ariel to get stronger and stronger. And let's not forget, he's only the 2nd driver this season after Zach Campbell to actually win consecutive races this season. Yeah, absolutely. And if ever you want to have a bit of form going into the second half of the season, well, that is exactly what you're seeing from Gustavo. Thomas Tetteler, this is another driver who's been splitting his time between multiple events. So he's having to focus right now on the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Supercup, heading towards Brussels. This long, sweeping downhill right-hand hairpin. Get your line right, get it over to the right-hand side for Speaker's Corner, this left-hander. Don't go too far wide there, you'll invalidate your lap time. And that's something that we haven't really touched on around here, Arjuna. Tracking, your lap invalidation in qualifying has a huge effect. One thing that I was told coming into this is that there are some teams that have found something in setup that with the 1 lap that you're allowed means that they may have as much as a 1/10 of a second. But that may not sound like a lot in the grand scheme of things with how close the field is here in the Porsche Esports Supercup. That is a lot. Watch for R8G, for Violate and Sonnen. This might be their chance to shine. We're watching, though, a driver that, unfortunately, we didn't get to see last time we went racing at Watkins Glen, but for very good reason, because Cooper Webster was over in the UK, gracing the GB4 Championship for the very first time, and in his very first weekend, Paul got some podiums to speak of as well.
Yeah, showing that pace that we know that he's got out there on track. Well, Luca Kita is going to be the very first who sets a lap time, as we'll look at Matthias Stuckbeck, the driver from Denmark, coming in towards the end of the lap here, and we're going to be starting seeing some lap times coming up on the left-hand side of your screen. There you go. Keita is the first one to set a lap time. What about the rest of them? Tettel is slower. Lassie back to the head of the standings. Cooper Webster fourth right now. That's not the best qualifying from him. Max Beneke down there in fourth place. Zach Campbell to the top of your standings right now in qualifying as the times are coming thick and fast across the line here. Alessandro Bico now finds himself to the head of qualifying. What a lap time from Bico to get to the head of qualifying. The only driver so far to get in the 2:18.8.
Zach Campbell told me Coanda and himself were not feeling confident about qualifying. I think that goes to show you how scrambled this field is. Bico at the front. Let's not forget he got a podium at the start of the season. It's been up and down since then, still clawing onto a spot inside of the top 15. This may be that marker that helps him build and just ride to the end of the season and hold on to his Super Cup license.
So now, one by one, Group B drivers will file themselves out of pit road, and then we'll see them going across the line to start their lap. So Alejandro Sanchez, that we're on board with right now, he is working his way through on his out lap. Of course, Sebastian Job is going to be the first one to start his qualifying lap time, or at least it should be, with how things go out there. But Arjuna, you're there with our provisional pole position sitter.
Alessandro, put the lap together. Talk us through the 2:18.891 that you managed to throw onto the board.
Yeah, was the start of the lap was good. I missed a bit the last corner because I saw it was a good lap. So yeah, pressure was very high. I'm happy. The preparation of this race was very high and good. So happy.
Let's talk a little bit about the season, I guess, Alessandro. No longer a rookie, started off on the podium, and it's been up and down, but you've always had speed. The problem is, so does everyone in the series.
Yeah, I mean, the level in the series is so high, you know. Then mistakes in quali can happen very easily because you have one chance, and the pressure is very high. So yeah, I'm happy with my speed this year. Very happy, also for the preparation we are doing. So yeah, let's do our best.
Well, let's have a look at how some of your competitors are doing right now in Group B, because Alejandro Sanchez is coming across the line right now. He sets his qualifying time only 14th right now, so that's one driver less to worry about taking you off of pole position. But Sebastian Job is going to be next one along. And, well, Alessandro, you know, how important is it at this track to start up in that front 3 rows of the grid here?
Yeah, it's important, like always, but you know, the long straight can be very important because people behind have the draft, so can overtake you. So the defense will be very important. Let's see.
Well, Sebastian Job comes across the line, and his lap time only puts him in 9th place. Now, I can tell you there is a little bit of drama because Diogo Pinto has actually taken back to pit road, and pit road is now closed, so he won't be able to start his lap at Arjuna.
I think he invalidated his lap at some point, potentially, is what happened, because I can't imagine why else you'd want to return to pit lane. Everything is set up for the one attempt, and the last thing you'd want to do at a track like this is start down the very back of the field.
Well, Charlie Collins is going to be the next one. Alessandro, we'll keep you here just for the moment, just whilst we wait for the final 2 cars to come across. But one thing for sure, you're going to be starting at least in the front 2 rows of the grid. So that's a positive for you. But Charlie Collins is coming round right now. The young Welshman. Try and, well, Charlie Collins 3rd in the championship. He needs a good result to try and improve his chances in qualifying in the overall championship. Through the final chicane, what can Charlie Collins do? I've not seen any absolute best sectors across the line he goes. Only 14th for Charlie. So, Alessandro, you're at least starting on the front row of the grid.
Well, nice. I mean, it's good.
Well, good is good, but it could get better for you depending on what Jordan Caruso does here.
Yeah.
But Arjuna, I mean, it's drama once again in our championship with Pinto having to take to the pit lane. He won't be happy with that, will he?
I'm not sure how he can really fight his way forward with Caruso being the mark of consistency this season. He already, let's not forget, Caruso comes into this round with a 58-point advantage. The maximum you can get in any one weekend is 85 points. That is a huge lead, and for Diogo Pinto, it's going to be a lot of work to do here at Spa, although lap number 1, we know just how crazy and frenetic it's truly going to be.
I do see on my timing screen that Pinto has returned to the track, but I think he's gone back to pit road, so I think that might have been a case of just maybe testing something there. Maybe had equipment problems. That's something that could happen. But Caruso now through the Fania chicane, and so far again there's no absolute best sectors coming from Jordan so far on this lap. Comes through the next sector, and again it's personal best, but of course it's going to be a personal best. He's not set a lap time here in qualifying, Arjuna.
No, someone who's having a bit of a better run in qualifying. Look at Max Benecca, someone who in the last few years in this series has struggled with the qualifying portions, and so it's great to see him be able to crack the top 10. Someone that is still trying to hold on to a spot in the top 15, 18th in points coming into this one, wants to hold on to his license.
Well, Caruso, let's see what Caruso does, and let's see if Alessandro Bico can be on pole position or if it's going to be second place. Here comes Caruso out of the final chicane, across the line to set his lap time, and it's 8th. Alessandro Bico, you are on pole position.
Let's go. Let's go. Thank you.
You must be happy with that. You must be delighted.
Yeah. Of course, in this series, the quali is very important. So yeah.
Well, we'll leave you to it. Thank you very much for joining us here. That's pole position award winner for today. It's Alessandro Bico, the young Italian, gets himself a pole position. And not only that, it's his first ever pole position here in the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Supercup. There you see the current pole position award winners. Caruso and Sanchez both on 2. Campbell, Job and Bico now joins those on the list. Well, we're getting ourselves set for this opening race, the sprint race here in the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup. It is going to be a 6-lap race for these drivers, and here is the grid. So it's Bico and Campbell on the front row with Via Latte and Lasse back on row number 2. Row 3 for Talva Talens and Luca Kita. Then it's Oscari Reina with Jordan Caruso, championship leader, in 8th place. Sarika and Job, row 5, with row 6 of Benecca and Kaita. Julian Sonnen with Bobby Zelensky, with Collins, Charlie Collins, one of your championship protagonists, on row number 8 with Cooper Webster. Alejandro Sanchez and Johan Half, the 2 teammates, sharing row number 9. Row 10 for Kevin Nielsen and Christopher Dambitz, with Gustavo Ariel and Simone Maria Marcheno. Jamie Fluke and Bryn Collins on row number 12. Oscar Mangan and Matthias Stuckbeck, with Thomas Tetler and Diogo Pinto. Big name, your 2022 champion, second place in the championship at the moment, all the way at the back of the grid, Arjuna.
And he may have had technical issues, so I wonder what that does to his mindset. If those technical issues flare up again, how is he going to cope in the race? Pinto on the back foot here in the Ardennes, and that's only with qualifying. We still got 2 races left to go.
Absolutely. It's going to be an absolute thrill ride. We're glad to have you all along here for this round number 7 of the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup from Spa-Francorchamps. And the drivers look to the starters gantry now. They are getting themselves set for the start. The revs rise. It's green flag, and we are go here at Spa. Great start from Oscar Reina in towards turn number 1. It is Bico who's able to get a good launch from the front row, with Zach Campbell along with him. Oh, there's tyre smoke mid-pack. There's been a little bit of contact further back, but at the front, oh, look at Oscari. What a launch he got from the start, trying to go side by side into Eau Rouge and Radion. That's not recommended here because it is very much a long-line track. And, well, Sebastian Job's got the run on Reiner, and he is going through and making moves in that. No, it wasn't Reiner, sorry. It was Sarika who made the mistake at Radion. In towards the Lacombe chicane. Campbell and Biko at the front of the field as well. They're duking it out, and it's Campbell who's actually made it to the front. There's a car off, a VRS car, and that's Charlie Collins. Charlie Collins, one of your championship contenders, is all the way to the back of the field.
We were just talking before we went live about how Collins was in a bit of a difficult spot after Watkins Glen, and he was placed right back in the thick of the fighting after qualifying and drops down to the tail of the field. Now that was a couple more cars off in the kiddie litter. See Jamie Fluke dropping down the timing order. Matthias Stokeback has returned to pit lane. Utter chaos on the opening lap, and Zach Campbell leads. I don't think pole position is necessarily the most important here at Spa. For Biko, how much did he really fight on lap number 1?
I don't think he was wanting to fight that one too hard. It was Bryn Collins who had issues with Jamie Fluke as well in that one down at Brussels. So that is the two Collins brothers both having issues on lap number 1 as they go through Stavelot and onto the old circuit for the first time here today. It's Campbell from Bika from back. Great start for Lasse back there in 3rd place. Quentin Violate 4th in this field ahead of Luca Kita. Oscari Reiner in 6th, and Jordan Caruso up to 7th place. That's a gain of 1 place for him. And Sebastian Job has been on an absolute tear through this start of this race. He's got up into 8th place, and that is crucial. That is the reverse grid pole position, but that is not where he wants to finish. He wants as many points as possible here, Arjuna.
No, absolutely not. And as we cycle our way back in time and grab a look up at the top of Lecom, you can see Benecca there in his Mouse Esports car. They're going to funnel their way through the first part of the chicane, and just look how Charlie Collins just gets caught out. Benecca has an RAG car trying to poke to the inside, and that's what sets it off. Then one of the Fire cars checked up into the wall, and as they sweep through Malmedy down the hill in towards Bruxelles, one of the Altus Esports cars trying to go to the inside, and that really set off the chain reaction. Bryn Collins then tags Jamie Fluke under braking. It's just a mess.
It was Oscar Mangan, the Altus car, as there goes the switch at the front. This is what we're expecting to see at the front, up the Camel Straight here throughout the race. We're expecting to see that lead change. It's very much like the last race at Watkins Glen, Arjuna, that the front few are going to be switching each and every lap when they get that slipstream and that run. It's all about the last lap, really, isn't it, for these drivers?
I don't think you want to be leading coming to the white flag, but I'd also argue that there is a chance that even if you lead heading out of Malmedy, you could still get passed back in towards the chicane at the end of the lap. So there's a lot of give and take here, and I'm not sure how the drivers will play it out. Going to be curious to see how that goes. One thing I will just raise, Paul, is that for Pinto and Collins, I don't think you could really say some of the incidents that have taken them out of some of their races have been their fault. Jordan Caruso, though, on the other hand, has just had none of that bad luck. What's that quote that is attributed to, I think it's Gary Player, one of the golf experts, wizards? You make your own luck, practice makes perfect. That is Jordan Caruso's season epitomized so far. He's doing what Pinto did last year, just even better.
Yeah, certainly it's really coming to fruition here in this race. But right now, Lasse back, another one of those drivers from Denmark for this team, the Fire Simsport, rookie to the series this season, and well, this is a tremendous opportunity for him. He's had 3 top 10 finishes this season, but not a single podium. Could this well be Lasse Back's opportunity here today?
Fire Simsport were the breakout team of the road to the World Championship. Qualifying series where it started, we saw Lasse Back be the standout, and then of course once we moved in for the Contender Series, Kevin Nielsen was there as well. They've been joined by a veteran in the form of Christopher Dambitz, and then Matthias Stokeback joining them midway through the campaign. 4 drivers in a in their first World Championship season. It is really, really impressive to see. But as we check back in with Diogo Pinto, 17th right now, 11 places gained, Paul.
And do you know what? I think he'll be feeling so much frustration right now in being in 17th. Remember, in the sprint races here, it is a different points compared to the main race. Only the top 20 score points here in the sprint race. And well, with the live points on the right-hand side of your screen, it is 68 points covering first and second place between Caruso and Pinto. Remember, 85 points is the maximum that you can get for a race weekend, and Alejandro Sanchez is currently right now just on that cusp.
Zach Campbell's actually bringing himself back a little bit closer, but again, this is all predicated on us talking about other championship contenders requires Jordan Caruso to have more luck. He had a bit of bad luck in the Red Bull Ring race number 2. Will Chadwick just reminding me of that, but outside of that, he's been pretty good. 2 drivers missing today, if you noted. 30 cars entered the series, 28 on the grid today. Gianni Vecchio, unfortunately, I think we've seen the last of him this season. A driver that I was looking forward to seeing here today, especially seeing Luka Kita qualifying quite well up in 5th, is Alexei Nesov. And so I was wondering to myself, I didn't know he was going to be missing today. Where is he? Chatted with one of his Urano Esports teammates. He's racing some GT3 cars in the real world this weekend. So congratulations to Alexei getting back behind the wheel of a real racing car. We wish him the best of luck, but we hope to see him back in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, certainly we do want to see Alexei back on behind the wheel in this series, and yeah, it's always good when you get these big grids. You see these drivers getting opportunities, and certainly the sim is a good place to be able to shine a little bit as well. Certainly, it's a lot cheaper to run in the sim than it is in real world, that is for sure. And the main thing with the sim, of course, is you don't have to pay for the spare parts. Well, not unless your wheel breaks, which actually happened to me once.
Or the tires. I asked a driver in the Porsche Carrera Cup North America what their tire bill for dry tires was for a weekend. Now, this was, I think, 3 sets of racing slicks, 12,000 euros. That scared me.
That's actually quite cheap, if you ask me. Here's Oscar Reina then in the wheel. You can see him just concentrating right now in 6th place at the moment. He's got championship leader Jordan Caruso behind him. So he's keeping focus forward though. He's not looking back. You can see he's just keeping that focus. He's not really paying attention to who's behind him right now. And that's how you need to drive these things. You know, I've seen so many races in official races here in iRacing, drivers starting to see the car, drivers getting closer, and they start looking in the mirrors. And when you look in your mirrors, well, you're just going to be driving slower. So Ascari doing a good job. Julian Sonnen here in 12th place. And well, we're getting to have a look at some of these drivers whilst they're going on. He's gained 1 place, up from 13th on the grid.
Yeah, and I did say that they may have had some speed in qualifying. Violate, one of his, maybe the best qualifying performance of the season from him to start up in 3rd. Sonnen still inside of the mix, inside the top 15. We talk so much, Paul, about how the margins are so fine, and the margins are so fine in qualifying. I'll go back to round number 1. I was amazed to read that in Formula 1, we talk about needing to be within 107% to be allowed to race. In round 1, the field was split by 100.7%. Just puts into context how consistent you have to be able to be at the very top of this championship.
Well, Alessandro Bico right now has 4/10 of a second lead over Zach Campbell. Lassie back in 3rd place. Compared to the All-Stars, if you were here for the All-Stars a little bit earlier on, these cars here in the Cup car don't have quite as much slipstream effect. So you don't have to be quite as far ahead for you to break the draft, break the slipstream. And Sam Keita right now, 15th place for him behind Bobby Zelensky. I was really surprised, Arjuna, because last time out at Watkins Glen, considering how many seasons Bobby Zelensky has done of this championship, it was his first podium last time out.
When you said that, it surprised me, but then I thought about it and maybe I was not so surprised, because Bobby Zelensky is one of these Renaissance drivers in that he can do a bit of everything. We've seen him in the iRacing Rallycross World Championship as well. And the problem is when you do as many different things, when you have to split your focus up as much as Bobby does, it can be very hard to actually focus time on every little thing. And let's be real, eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series is where Bobby has the most chance of winning a championship. He's come so close so many times and deserves one, in my opinion. I think it makes a lot more sense for him to spend more time on the eNASCAR stuff. And he was not meant to be in this championship, Paul, until a couple of drivers pulled out. So what a story it is.
Yeah, and it's a real opportunity, and it's one that he's taken with both hands. And yeah, absolutely. He got a tremendous result last time out at Watkins Glen, a circuit that he knows very well from his eNASCAR racing as well. So definitely able to take some of that knowledge. Now, Alessandro Bica right now is actually looking all right at the front, because that gap is growing slightly. Zach Campbell has got a very, very keen Lasse back right behind, and this driver that we're on board with right now, Quentin Violate, isn't that far behind either.
I think Coanda on the back foot here very much, because even though both the Collinses have had issues, Charlie started 15th, Bryn started 24th, so they weren't able to execute in qualifying. Bobby Zelensky actually qualified better than Charlie Collins, which is great to see, but maybe just missing a bit on the preparation on the setup and getting everything dialed in. Just look at that margin as we get ready to take the white flag. Campbell's not even close enough. Bico looks comfortable. I think Back's going to be more focused on looking forward and trying to get second than us worried about Campbell trying to fight for the lead.
Well, Alessandro Bica has just got one more lap to go here in this race, this opening sprint race of this round number 7 of the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup. It's Bica and then Campbell, with Back, Violate, Kita in the top 5 right now, through Eau Rouge and Radio and up over the top of the hill. But Bica, he is clear, and I tell you what, he is possibly on for a potential race win here. Sebastian Job, 8th place. That will give him pole position for the main race here today, but that's not necessarily the best position that you want to be in around this track. Not necessarily, although Bico is proving that different.
Back did get past Campbell, by the way, and look at a three-way fight, tie for third right now. I think it's important because we haven't seen drivers able to work forward. Back has got past Campbell, but outside of that, inside the top 8, it's been relatively stagnant. For Sebi to be vaulted from 8th into 1st, maybe it's not the best place to start, but we know Sebi, we know how strong he can be. If he gets an opportunity to break away like Bico, don't be surprised if he runs away and doesn't look back.
Through Pouon they go for the final time here in this sprint race. It's Bico from Back, from Campbell, Violate, Kita, all together. Oscari Reiner and Jordan Caruso, Sebastian Job, all together in this queue of traffic. Marina Sarica's not that far back from Sebastian Job either, as they head on through campus into Stavolo for the final time. But Alessandro Bica, well, he's just got a few corners to go here. It's hold your breath time if you're Alessandro, because this could be a tremendous race for you. Through Blanchimont, final time, he's just got the bus stop chicane to go. Look at the focus on his face right now. Are we going to see some of the emotion? Are we going to see some of that exuberance and the passion from Alessandro Bica? There's a little smile. There's the fist pump. It's a race win and a debut race win for Alessandro Bica across the line here in the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup. What a performance from Bico from pole position. They're still coming across the line. And, well, that was Carl Faulty, Julian Sonnen having a slow down penalty right at the very end. We'll take a look at your provisional race results, and it is Bico from Back. Great result for the young Dane there. And in second place, Zach Campbell, third, ahead of Quentin Violate, Luca Kita, Oscari Reiner with Jordan Caruso. Sebastian Job will be starting on pole position in this main race. Marina Sarica and Cooper Webster and at the top 10. Max Benneker, Sanchez, Zelensky and the rest on screen. And we'll look at that outside of the top 20. Collins, both Collins brothers, and Jamie Flug, Thomas Tetteler as well. Let's have a look then at what happened to the number 40, and this is into the final one. Julian Sonin gets tagged right at the end there by Alejandro Sanchez, and he's got a very broken motor car.
Yeah, that is not a slowdown, unfortunately, but R8G's potential not all shining. Let's have a quick chat with Alessandro Vico, though, after converting the pole position into a sprint race victory. Puts on the other headset to quickly have a chat with us as well. Alessandro, battled a little bit on the opening couple of laps, but once you were able to stretch away, you broke the toe and didn't look back. How did that feel?
Yeah, I mean, immediately I feel a good feeling, you know, in the car, because I could give it some space from the car behind. So I try everything, because if I was like 0.6, 0.7 before the Ledong straight, I could keep the position. So yeah, was hard, because this track is always amazing, and the pressure with racing at this level is amazing. So very happy. Finally I got a very good position. It's not finished, of course. Now the main race is going, so let's see.
Now you have to work your way forward from 8th position. Given what you saw in the rearview mirror, what do you think you need to do to try and get some more positions up?
We need to take care about the start for sure, because the first lap will be crazy. I mean, if I have more pace than the other, I can overtake for sure. Let's see. We need to manage the tire, the off track, and then we can do something. And let's see.
Well, 6 laps becomes 12 for the main race. Congratulations on your first victory, Alessandro. We'll see how you go in the second race. But as we take a look at the points poll, what a shift after our first race in the Ardennes.
Yeah, these are the points as they stand right now. Then it's Jordan Caruso by 67 points over Diogo Pinto. 3-way tied for third then, 76 points back from the championship leader, Charlie Collins, Sebastian Job and Zach Campbell. Alejandro Sanchez, 84 points back from the championship leader. It's so tight between those, but Jordan Caruso is reaping benefits of having that consistency.
Also, look how close it is for the top 15 as we cycle through some replays after the 6 laps of action. And of course, it was a relatively clean start. And as they worked out of La Source, watch Jordan Caruso, 3 wide. He takes all the way off the track, trying to just make sure he's clean. A couple more is taking more liberties. They're glad there's no gravel like there is now in the real world.
Yeah, absolutely. And these are just some of the highlights that we saw from that opening race, and that contact on the opening lap then sending Charlie Collins off at the Lacombe chicane. Then more contact further back, Oscar Mangan getting involved in that one as well. But Simone Maria Marcheno, he was one who was having a bit of fun further down in your field. But if you do want to keep up to date with everything going on in this championship, well, there you see the details on screen at iracing.com/PESC to keep up to date with the schedule, with the standings, how everybody's getting on in this championship. So do check that one out, and you will see that it was Alessandro Vico who got his first ever race win here in the sprint race of this, the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Supercup from Spa-Francorchamps. And well, you said it there in the interview, 6 laps become 12. What changes does that make to these drivers going into this one?
Incident limit for sure. I think that's one thing these drivers are going to have to manage. We've already seen drivers have penalties thanks to that, going back over to the Red Bull ring. I think the other thing that really I'm thinking about, Paul, is the fact that we've seen how difficult it is further back to really make moves happen. Vico looks comfortable. That's not a word I use lightly. Comfortable in the Porsche Esports Super Cup is a state of mind you never want to be in, because you may be slow. He was not slow.
Oh, absolutely not. He was absolutely on it here today, and it's a lot of hard work that's gone into that team, and they're reaping the rewards of some of the performances that are coming out of some of these drivers who were rookies last year, coming into this year. That year of experience really does help here in this championship. Paul Smith and Arjuna Kankapati here for the commentary for this, the main race in the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup. And well, it is Sebastian Job and Jordan Caruso starting on the front row, with Oscar Elena and Luca Kita row number 2. Row 3 for Quentin Violetti and Zach Campbell. row 4 for Lassie Back and our sprint race winner Alessandro Bico, and then it's where they finished: Sirico and Webster, Benica and Sanchez. Row 7 and Zelensky and Sam Kaiser, Christopher Dambit and Diogo Pinto. Good recovery drive starting from row number 8. Simone Maria Marcheno and Johan Harth on row number 9. Row 10 for Salva Talons and Kevin Nielsen, with Gustavo Ariel. Charlie Collins won't be happy down on row number 11. Neither will his brother Bryn on row number 12, shared with Julian Sonin. And Thomas Tetteler, Jamie Fluke, Oscar Mangard and Matthias Stuckbeck starting on the final row of the grid. So the drivers have about a minute before the start of this race, Arjuna. Well, I mean, there was plenty of thrills in that first race with a couple of spills. Hopefully we get more of the thrills in this second race.
I get the sense that maybe they were all just biding their time in the first one. At least that's what I'm hoping, because traditionally at Spa, think back to last year, the 3 wide that we had in those closing laps, it was definitely exciting. One thing I'll just point out, Paul, we've had, 4 different pole position, Tag Heuer pole position award winners so far this season. Only 3 of them have converted to a sprint race victory in our 7 races so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Last year, of course, Sebastian Job was a race winner in the sprint race with Zach Campbell in the main race. What can they do this year? Well, they're right up there at the front with Sebastian starting from the very front of this grid. But the drivers are just waiting patiently. And this is the lull before the excitement, before the roar of these Porsche 4-litre flat 6 engines. Looking up to the starter's gantry, engines rise. Green flag, we are go here for the main race of the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Supercup at Spa-Francorchamps. Down towards turn number 1, Caruso's looking for the lead straight away, and Sebastian Job is not fighting that one too hard. We've got 3 wide action, we've got a car with multiple cars around. That's a big wreck at the La Source hairpin, and well, Bobby Zelensky is one of those cars involved in that one with Christopher Dambit through Eau Rouge Radion for the first time here in this race, and we've got a gaggle of cars at the front and a big hole where that incident happened at La Source, going towards the Lacombe chicane for the first time. And look at them, they're on the grass in the background of the shot there. That's just showing how intense the battling is further down in your field here.
They tried, was it 1993 Spa? They tried their best efforts to replicate out of La Source further back in the field, I can reliably inform you. However, I mean, you wanted chaos, Paul. Commentator's curse? Commentator's blessing.
I didn't want chaos. I wanted thrills, not spills.
Okay, yes, we definitely have a lot more of the spills than thrills. Simone Maria Marcheno is already back to pit lane, unfortunately. I think he was the one that took the worst of the drama out of turn 1. Charlie Collins got tangled up with things once again, but I think actually got away relatively scot-free. So we're going to take a look at the replay of the start and try and pick our way through all of this. Might take us a while.
Yeah, as they head on down. So we're looking a little bit further back in the mid-pack. There's a dive to the inside from Pinto. And that's who's turned them around. Oh, and then 3 cars all pirouetting around there. But it was Pinto just with that dive down the inside into turn number 1. That's what then started that chain reaction.
One of the Coanda cars had an amazing reaction to just dodge all the chaos in front of them. Not sure which of the Collinses it was, but
Bryn.
Full credit. Was it Bryn?
Yeah, Bryn.
Oh,
he's up 9 places. 9 places in this race already. Matthias Stuckbeck, by the way, started at the very back of the grid. It's now 15th. Talk about taking advantage.
Actually, I think the one that I was looking at was Charlie, so he did a good job. But Bryn up 9, Charlie plus 6. These are skills, Paul, that you need in the Porsche Esports Super Cup. We know that. Think back to Magny Core, the hairpin in race number 2. Think back to Long Beach, the fountain where Diogo Pinto, or rather the hairpin where Diogo Pinto got tangled up and rolled. If you've got the skills and that mental sense to be able to stay out of those situations, it can always keep you in a great spot. But boy, what a tantalizing battle we got now with Caruso and Job 1 and 2.
Yeah, this is going to be an intriguing race. Let's take another look then from the roof then of the race pole position starter of Sebastian Job. There's the move for the lead from Jordan Caruso, and yeah, I do get the feeling that Sebastian was more along the lines of, no, after you, Jordan. A bit of British hospitality to his Australian counterpart.
Maybe recognize that it's lap 1 and he knows there's still a long way to go. Sebi has joined the ranks of Jamie Fluke, Tumas Tatler, Max Benecca, as some of those pulling double duty with various different events, and has been enjoying some success, has revitalized his rivalry and battling with Josh Rogers in the Porsche Coanda Esports team, which has been really fun to see. But after that championship that he won a couple of weeks ago, like you said, with a full round still left to play, you always wonder what that does to the mentality of a driver. I wonder if that's just calmed Sebi down a little bit, because there have been a couple of points this year where he looked like he was very, very earnestly focused on delivering a certain result rather than just driving to the best of his ability, which is naturally where drivers get their best results.
Well, we'll have to see how this all pans out for Sebastian, but he is a very experienced driver in this championship, one of our ever-present drivers. And, well, look at the front of Diogo Pinto's car, bearing the scars of lap 1 there. That will not be helping his top speed, which is so crucial around this track.
Maybe in some ways it's more aerodynamic. Now, I'm not a physicist, so I'm not claiming that it is, but ultimately all that you want here is as much straight line ability as you can in these long drafting trains. They all run their wing basically at minimum, which, if you're curious, is not 0 or 1, it's 4, just because of how the system works to set the angle on the back of the car. And so you're not really doing much after that to get more top speed, and you're just hoping for every little bit you can. Battle for 5th, Quinton Violate, of course, great qualifying for him, Paul, and I love to see that because he's down in 29th position in points, 52 points behind the bubble line. This is a result that could very well still keep him in contention to hold on to that license.
Well, he's currently where he started in this race right now in 5th place, so he's doing all right so far. You can see the need of people wanted to break the draft there. As for the front end of that car, Arjuna, I don't think that's how they would have designed it in Stuttgart, and I don't think they'd approve of that redesign either. If nothing else, for the aesthetics of this Porsche 911 GT3 Cup car. And, well, these drivers, they are on edge. They are pushing this car to its limits. Let's give you a little bit of the buzz, full throttle. Well, if you are just joining us, where have you been? Because there has been drama aplenty in this main race of the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Supercup from Spa-Francorchamps, and Diogo Pinto has plummeted down the order here, so something has happened to him at the start of this lap. But it is Paul Smith and Arjuna Kankapati here on commentary. Our opening race winner, the sprint race winner, was Alessandro Bico in this one, but Arjuna, we've had drama aplenty involving this man, Diogo Pinto.
Diogo Pinto now a second consecutive race where he's going to be dropping down towards the back. We'll grab a look at this one because it was out of turn number 1, and you're going to note something. The 2 cars that are involved, it's going to be Diogo Pinto that looks towards the inside of former teammate Max Benecca as he just overcommits on the Stall Force Racing by ART car. Now both Charlie Collins and Bryn Collins get caught up as a result of that as well. And as we saw in the live points just a moment ago, even though Sebastian Job sits second behind Jordan Caruso, if things hold as they are, Jordan Caruso is almost a full race victory clear of the entirety of the field.
Oskari Rina has made it to 3rd place right now. So the driver in the Zebra car is certainly working his way through the field. He's never had a top 10 finish here in the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Supercup. Right now, towards the end of lap 4, he finds himself in 3rd place right now, doing a sterling job here is Oskari. And, well, as behind, well, there's some moves happening behind as well, because Luca Kita has made a move on Quentin Violate in the chicane as well. Across the line then, Caruso, Job, Rina with Campbell, Kita, Violate, Alessandro Bico, our sprint race winner, involved in this one with Lasse back as well. So, absolute, just really exciting racing further back in your field, but Bico, after his race win in that sprint race, will be feeling a lot more confidence here, but it's tough to get by.
At the end of the day, inside of the top 10, we've only got 1 and 2 that have swapped around. Zach Campbell's gained 2, Luca Kita and Quintin Violate have lost a place each as a result. No other changes. It is really, really difficult to pass, in stark contrast to some of our previous trips here, which is really, really intriguing. And I'm going to be interested to talk to some of the drivers in their second year with this 992 generation Cup car. What's changed? Why is it so different? Why are they having to claw so much more to be able to fight wheel to wheel?
Oh, look at that nice move to the inside then from Lasse back on Quentin Violate, but Violate's not giving this one up then. Through Speaker's corner, and Alessandro Bico now is going to try and take advantage of all of this. This is racing for 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, all the way down the field. So it's just action aplenty all the way. You do not want to miss a thing here in the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Supercup, and we're delighted to have you along for the journey here today. But it is Caruso from Job at the front right now. And, well, Oskari Reina is really a dark horse in this one, I feel, Arjuna, because Sebastian Job will be feeling the pressure to try and get a win, to really sort of try and keep any hope of this championship alive. Jordan Caruso, he'll be just thinking about getting championship points, getting them in the bank. Is Oskari thinking, I've got a race win opportunity here?
I say back almost thought about going to the inside of Blanchard, by the way. If I'm Oskari Rene, what a feeling this must be right now, because 2023 has been about the year of big name esports organizations jumping in to sim racing, including the likes of Mouse as an example, Heroic as well. Oskari Rene was part of the Kova esports team that, unfortunately, a big esports organization in Finland that went bankrupt at the end of last year, and so the home, the family that they had built, because it was a really close connected team, had to go their separate ways. It's fortunate that he's landed at a place like BS Competition, which I think is a great fit for him. They're letting him run the Finnish flag on one half of his car. He's got Valtteri Alander as part of the squad as well. And even though all the Kova teammates are now splintered across, it's great to see them continuing to show the results that we started to see out on track here across the iRacing Esports Network.
Yeah, and Sebastian Job just holding his line, whereas Jordan Caruso was trying to break the draft there at the front. Is Caruso feeling a little bit of pressure? I mean, every time we we see him behind the wheel of the car. He looks almost asleep at the wheel. It's just that calm. Mind you, it is very early in the morning for Jordan, so we'll give him a break on that one. But yeah, Job will be keeping the pressure on. This is somebody who knows what it takes to win a championship. Let's not forget Sebastian Job, the 2020 Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Supercup champion. So he knows what it takes to win the big prize here in this championship, but he's doing it tough. There's Jordan Caruso on screen, and I say, he almost looks asleep there.
And I think it's even more impressive, the achievements he's had this year when you consider the fact that he's racing at ridiculous o'clock in the morning. His ability to stay out of trouble, his ability in qualifying, which starts everything off, to already be switched on, and in one lap, Super Pole qualifying, to get it all together. I mean, we've been singing the praises of Jordan Caruso for quite some time, and I can't wait to keep doing that for the rest of this season as well. Like I mentioned last time though, Paul, if he continues this momentum, how much longer is Simon Feigl going to be able to hold on to him, and when will inquiring eyes be trying to pry him away?
I think there's a few people looking at already is the answer to that one, and well, Simon Feigl has got he's got a tough task ahead. But, well, let's have a look there. Now, we've got this race for 6th place because it's Violate, back, Bico, also Sarika there. Well, Cooper Webster and Alejandro Sanchez have joined in this little tussle, and Webster's looking to make the move forward here on Sarika. He wants to move forward in this top 10. Sarika's got the inside into La Source, and he's going to hold on to it. In fact, Bico is going to dive his teammate. Nicely done. I don't think that was exactly planned, though, as now Quentin Alejandro Sanchez and Cooper Webster are going to take the two Williams Esports drivers too wide into Eau Rouge. Radio, sort yourselves out, guys, and Marina Sarika is the big loser in that one.
And he's going to go slow down, so not just as he lost effectively 3 positions, but watch him pull to the side and drop back as not 1 but 2 cars fly on past. That was Tumas Tatala and Matthias Stokeback back up towards the front halfway through this race. And while they're all starting to filter out and straggle behind, there are 5 cars still in contention. Caruso being hunted by Job, Rene, Campbell, and Kita. For some of these drivers, Rene and Kita, this is unfamiliar this season. To have some good form, to have some good luck, they want to make the most of it. How much are they going to push the likes of Caruso and Job, who they will know are in championship fights?
Well, this is certainly going to be intriguing. We're halfway through this race, and the main race. And, well, it is Paul Smith and Arjuna Kankapati behind the scenes here on commentary for you today. And, well, these drivers, they are certainly having a lot of fun out there on track. It is that race lead for Jordan Caruso right now over Sebastian Job in 2nd place, with Oscar Rene 3rd. He is that dark horse here in this race, so it's going to be intriguing to see how he goes on out this lot. Don't write off Zach Campbell as well. He knows what it takes to win around this venue, as he did so last year. And well, Arjuna, Luca Kita, one of our rookies, and again, another driver with a potential good result here.
And it came into the season, of course, having Sam Coitert, the sole Urano representative in 2022, being the experienced one, which is very weird when you get the likes of Luka Kita and Alexei Nesov, so experienced in these GT3 machines across the world of iRacing, have been successful as well. And so I think it's really interesting that it's taken this long for Kita to be able to put the lap together in qualifying.
Well, we are halfway through the race then. We've had plenty of drama in this one. It certainly has been a race where it has big championship implications, and it's fallen against Diogo Pinto and Charlie Collins here this round.
It's working in the favor of Sebastian Job in some ways, though. Is Sebi maybe someone that likes to be on the ropes and come back swinging? He may be someone that needs that little bit of an incentive, and as we see Lasse back trying to work past a couple of cars in that fight for 6th position, that second gaggle of machines that are trying to close their way on forward. I really do feel like even though Pinto and Collins have been maybe taken out of the equation today, maybe Sebastian Job's still just getting his feet in this championship with 3 rounds left to go.
It is a tall order for Sebastian, but you never write him off. He will continue to race on and race hard. throughout the rest of the season. We have got that breakaway at the front, that 5-car pack at the front, and then we've got that second group, the peloton almost, of cars from 6th place down to 12th. Thomas Tettler and Matthias Stuckbeck have now joined in that one as well. We've got racing aplenty throughout the field in this one. We almost don't know where to look half the time in an event like this, but some of those rookies, you know, they're having some big days here today in this race.
Yeah, and that rookie championship has been one that in some ways no one has really wanted to lead. Every time someone starts to build up some momentum, they start to fall on back. I think the rookie that's had the most bad luck today is Simona Maria Marcheno, followed closely by Oscar Mangan. It's not been ideal for those two Altus cars, even though, unfortunately, I think both of them felt relatively confident coming into this one with race preparation. It goes to show that you can do all the preparation in the world. Talked to about Brian Lockwood back in 2021 doing 60 hours of practice for the first round of the championship. He decided that it's a lot better to spend 60 hours a week working for iRacing than trying to compete in iRacing.
Yeah, so he's almost a poacher turned gamekeeper, isn't it, for Lockwood and a couple of others I could think of as well. Well, we're definitely well into the second half of this race now. 4 laps to go. Zach Campbell, the young man from Georgia, he has got the focus and the bit between his teeth. The question is, he's involved in that championship battle only just. He's on the very outskirts of it. But again, he almost wrote off the championship about 3 rounds ago, didn't he? He almost said, right, that's it, I'm out of this one. He's only 89 points back. He's in 3rd place right now in the live standings.
I'm pretty sure when Zach and I talked after Magny Core, which was the 2nd round of the championship, he had already given up. Sometimes you don't feel like the luck's going your way. Zach then got caught up in plenty of stuff after that at the Circuit of the Americas at Long Beach as well. And so I'm not really sure how Zach Campbell will reflect on his season when we think about it now. I'll put this to you, Paul. We just had the thought maybe uttered in our ear. Is there a bump and run potentially coming out of Sebastian Jobe? Is he going to lightly shove Jordan Caruso out the way?
Well, I mean, here, no. I don't think he can afford to do that because the stewards would potentially look at that afterwards as well. You know, it's quite a cynical move to be able to do the little bump and run. It's a tactic that people have run in the past, and certainly they have fallen afoul of that with the race stewards. And don't forget, generally speaking, in the world of not just real world motorsport, but in sim racing as well, if there's front to rear contact between 2 cars, it's generally the car in the rear that's found at fault. Not always, but generally speaking.
Let's just remember, race control has the most difficult job in the world.
Yes.
And so I never want to ever be in race control's boots if I ever have to be so again. So whoever's reviewing this race, they're going to have plenty to filter their way through. After this, let's not forget, Paul, we're at a track where we haven't seen much passing, not for a lack of effort. Next up, it's a track where we're not going to see much passing, because if you try and pass, it could end everyone's race.
I still remember going back to 2020 at the Nordschleife, the big drama on the last lap, Max Benneker going into into Tiergarten, and all of the grass, losing control, ends up contact and almost makes contact with Josh Rogers. It was championship contender at that time, and that was really a really big spark of the big rivalry between Benneker and Rogers. So it's got history in this championship for drama, and it's certainly got plenty of history in the world of motorsport, in particular Porsche motorsport as well.
Lasse back is closing on the leading 5 cars, by the way. You can see they're squabbling behind him now. Violatti and Sanchez door to door, and the Stormforce Apex racing car is going to shortcut and get a slowdown, and I'm sure going to try and serve it in a way that he doesn't bleed positions. Lasse back after moving forward to 2nd in our sprint race earlier is still in contention to get a top 5, if not a podium.
Well, this is intense stuff in this one, and we have still got plenty of action to go in this race. So at Spa-Francorchamps, you've got that race for 7th on that screen below. You can see right now Sanchez managed to hold on to that position for the time being, although Quentin Violate is going to go around the outside at Poor. Alessandro Bico tried to follow, and I think Sanchez is desperately trying to serve that penalty, that slowdown penalty he would have picked up at Lecom. I think he has managed to do that now, but he drops himself down to 10th place. It's a race from 7th down to 14th right now in that gaggle of cars. The front 6 now are together because Lasse Bach is tagging on to the back of your race leaders. So 2 packs of cars all together, and there is a third pack, by the way, up there. 15th down to 20th, they're all together on track. It's incredible just how this track really can separate people out, but also keep them together in groups.
Alejandro Sanchez got a big old tank slapper coming down through Pouon there. That's why he washed out so wide, because he had absolutely no control over his car. What's that done to his tires? Look at how he opened the door there to his former teammate Matthias Stokeback to try and poke it to the inside, and Sanchez will try and stymie the bleeding, try and hold on to a spot in the top 10 with just 2 laps left to go. Is this hammer time, though, for Sebastian Job, or is he going to wait one more lap and leave it to those final 7 kilometers to try and challenge for the lead?
Well, we'll have to wait and see in this one. This has been a tremendous round of the championship with some big championship implications. And, well, these drivers at the front, they're staying in one line at the moment as they are, but Jordan Caruso's feeling the need to hold that inside line going into Lecom. Sebastian Job backs out of it. Is he saving himself then for the last lap here? Meanwhile, that race for 10th is still wild going on, and Quentin Violate is going to lose out 2 places. Sanchez is going to try and take advantage of that as well. No move made for Sanchez in that one, so he stays in 10th place. But Cooper Webster up into 7th place now. He's been moving through the field here just a little bit throughout this this race series here today at Spa.
Great to see him back in the field as well after missing out. Unfortunately, the distance between Alton Park, where he was racing with GB4, and the Red Bull factory where he had competed the previous round of the championship, just a bit too far for him to finish his race, jump out of the car, and then drive to the factory in time. But he's still solidly inside the top 10, and that's the most important thing, because even if Cooper Webster is not thinking about a championship fight, the majority of the prize money is up towards the front. He wants a Super Cup license as well, but it's his teammate that now is running out of time if he wants to get to the lead. And I'd argue, Paul, he needs to get to the lead to take points away from Jordan Caruso.
And my question to you, Arjuna, is very quickly then, where do you do it? Do you do it up at Lecom?
I think you've got to, because we haven't seen Caruso really be challenged into the bus stop. You've got to set it up out of La Source, the 2-kilometer blast, then up the hill to try and get the move done.
Well, we're heading towards the final lap here of this main race in round number 7 of the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup from Spa-Francorchamps. It's Jordan Caruso currently leading this main race. This would be, if he does manage to hold on to this one, a maiden main race victory for Jordan in this championship. But Sebastian Job, Oscar Irine, and also Zach Campbell, Luca Kita, Lasse Bach, they've all got thoughts moving forward as well. Look at how defensive and how much weaving Jordan Caruso's having to do here to try and break the slipstream through Eau Rouge, through Radion, pop out up over the top of the hill. They're then going to go through the Kemmel Kink and up the Kemmel Straight. This is where it's going to be decided. Caruso's got to be careful with the weaving down the straight. He can't be caught doing that too much. Here comes Job to the outside at Lecom. He's gone a bit too deep there though. He's across the grass. He's possibly lost the chance of a lead. Keep it in control. Oscar Irine goes through into 2nd place. Zach Campbell is going to try and get that one for 3rd. This again is a change for the championship, and Job is still serving that slowdown penalty. He just went too deep in at Lecom.
I think Job saw the championship there or never again, and so he decided he had got to go for the move, similar to what we saw with Casey Kerwin over in our All-Star race, bouncing over the grass, slow down penalty, and now Jordan Caruso, if it holds like this, would lead by more than a full 85 points. Half a lap to go though. The Zebra's right on the back of the Altus Esports car.
Yeah, and this is it. He is keen for a win. He can taste victory victory in this one. Jordan Caruso's got to be careful here, because if Oscari makes a move into that chicane, then Caruso can't afford to lose too many points. He is in control at the top of the championship. He doesn't need to win this one. He'd like to win it, but Oscari Rine, his first season in the championship, he would love to get himself not only his first podium in this championship, but also his first win in this championship as well. Alessandro Bico got his first ever win in the championship earlier on in that sprint race. What can Oscari do? Deep into the chicane, he's not going to do it, and it's going to be Jordan Caruso. A huge sigh of relief for him. He's the winner, but who's going to take second prize across the line? It is Oscari Rine ahead of Zach Campbell, Luca Kita. What a result for Kita as well. Best result of the season in 4th place for him. But what a drive, what a mature drive from Jordan Caruso.
While there are plenty of drivers that will celebrate their best result of the season, you saw the relief on Jordan Caruso's face. He knew as we head into the post-race show that this result with Job, with Collins, with Pinto having issues, and him staying up towards the front leaves him with 3 rounds left to go in control of the points.
With his first ever main race victory, Jordan Caruso takes that one by 0.8 of a second of Oscari Rine, who gets his first ever podium in this championship. Zach Campbell rounds out the podium of the top 3 with Kita back, Job down to 6, Bico, Webster, Sanchez and Talent to top 10. The rest of them, Tetela, Sarika, big names, Charlie Collins in 15th place, Diogo Pinto 19th place for him. Max Becker down in 22nd as well. Some drivers not finishing, Mangan, Ariel and Marcheno. But my goodness, that was an absolute thrill ride here. And well, let's take a look at what that does for the championship standings. You said it, Arjuna, it is more than a perfect week is that championship lead right now. Jordan Caruso, he must feel very happy after this one over Zach Campbell.
He could miss a round of the championship and still lead. It's as simple as that. It is remarkable, and it goes to show that with Campbell, we were just saying, he felt his championship was done and dusted a couple of rounds ago. He might not be looking at first. Second's not bad.
Well, we will get a word with a few of them. Julian Sonnen getting himself into 15th place in the championship. But Arjuna, you're standing by with our race winner.
And I think relieved Jordan Caruso, because across the line, you just looked up and you sighed. What was that about?
Yeah, I mean, anything can happen in these, and like just to come across the line with the win, I was feeling pretty terrible in qualifying, to be honest. Like the prep, it was just really inconsistent. I didn't have a feel for the car. So to end up winning the feature is, yeah, pretty crazy, but couldn't be happier.
86 points clear of Zach Campbell in second as it stands right now. One thing I've got to ask you is, you've had this knack this season to just not be in the pockets of trouble. What do you attribute that to?
Good question. I guess, I mean, that's all the series is about, really. Like, you need to qualify well, you need to be in those positions and capitalize, you know, take risks sort of when you need to, but just know when to chill out. And I feel like I've done a pretty good job so far of that. In general, I'd say like luck's sort of been on my side. So, and you know, I know anything can happen. So still 3 rounds to go. I'm just same approach every race. I just want to keep finishing, keep bagging points. Yeah, it's been great so far.
Well, 86 points clear. Maybe we don't need to see you at the Nordschleife to make things a little bit more interesting. 3 rounds to go, Jordan. We'll see you in a couple of weeks' time.
Thanks, guys.
We move on from Jordan Caruso to first-time podium winner, Oscari Rine, who's got a big old smile on his face and joins us now up here on the iRacing Esports Network. Oscari, it's been a difficult season, I know, all things considered, but this must make it all worth it.
Yes, it does.
Come on, tell us a little bit more, come on.
I mean, there's not much to tell. Just sat in the draft whole race, and well, the last lap I saw that there's a... Well, first of all, when Sebastian and Jordan hit each other, like I was looking at Seb coming back and was a bit dangerous, but okay, we survived. And then I saw there's a gap opening, like behind. Yeah, I mean, it's a kind of double-edged sword, you know. Of course, you want to win, but of course, you also want to get the points. So I left it a bit at Blanchimont because I just wasn't sure. It was so close. So then I saw Jordan broke up quite early, so I thought, okay, let's try around the outside maybe, but didn't work out. But luckily we kept P2.
I've got to ask, you started the road to the World Championship with your team at Kova. I know it was a lot of disappointment to not be able to continue the journey with them, but you've landed up with BS Competition. Tell us more about the team and how you're fitting in.
Great. I mean, perfect. Like at BS, I know the guys are still supporting me, even in this, and I mean it's well, it's a great atmosphere for sure. Like the best team around there.
I don't think I've ever seen you with such a big smile, Askari. Go and enjoy this one. I can't wait to see you at the Nordschleife in a few weeks' time.
Thank you.
We make our way over to the final step of the podium, and someone that thought his championship was completely over, but Zach Campbell, after this round at Spa, you're sitting second in points.
Man, I'm just here to have fun. Like, that's my only goal. I think I basically abandoned any sort of seriousness after we got through Coda. So I'm just here to have fun, man. Like, it's a fun series of racing when everything goes well. So, you know, just here to have fun, really.
Looked like everything went well today. I do have to ask, I watched last year's race in preparation for today thinking, oh, this is going to be great. You guys are going to be too wide all the time. It didn't look that easy to try and get past. Tell us about that.
So I thought it would be a lot more exciting based on our testing, but apparently not. It was, I think it was just a fact that it kind of can get strung out when the guy in second, like I know when we were doing test races with me and Jordan and Charlie, when we were doing test races, we were swapping the lead every lap, and I think whoever was out front was really struggling. But I think here, Jordan was really quick, and then Seb was also just trying to kind of lift behind and wait until the last lap, which is a choice. But I think from third on back, you just kind of get strung out a little bit because you're spinning the whole straightaway just trying to catch up. And then when you can't quite do that, you're just kind of stuck. You can't really get to anybody and make any moves from third on back. So, I mean, I think it was just kind of us also biding our time with the instance. I think just here, obviously, you get more instance than probably anywhere else. So it's really just trying to ride in the line, save those track limit violations, and really avoid kind of putting yourself in a bad situation late. So,
well, next up we go to the Nordschleife. Tell us about how the best track in the world, how much you're enjoying, looking forward to going there.
You know, I don't know. My Q pace there, I think, has always been very good, but my race pace there has always been dog water. So we'll see. I think we'll see. It's I've done well at tracks so far this season that I didn't think I'd do good in. So, you know, hey, we'll see. I think we have a decent opportunity there. I think our race cars have been great all year. So yeah, I know I'm really looking forward to it. I think it'll be a really fun race.
I'm disappointed you didn't say that Road Atlanta is the best track in the world, but looking forward to seeing...
It's the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, man. Every time I gotta explain this to you.
No, don't worry. We'll be there in a few weeks' time. We'll be good. Anyway, Zach, congratulations on third, second in the championship. We'll see you at the Nordschleife in a few weeks' time.
Thank you. Hopefully we get to talk there too. This was pretty fun. It's a lot better when I get to talk to you guys rather than, you know, just sitting there sulking on my own. So, yeah.
That's a first. Drivers want to talk to me, Paul Smith.
Yeah, apparently they don't want me to talk, although saying that I could do with the rest after that last lap. But yes, 2 weeks' time, May the 6th, we are going to be heading on over to the legendary Nürburgring for racing. So make sure you do not miss that one. That is at 7 o'clock GMT. Well, actually, no, that's at 6 o'clock GMT. That's 7 o'clock British summertime is that one next time out in 2 weeks' time. As well, on Porsche's Twitch channel next week as well, there is the championship finale of the Porsche Esports Carrera Cup Great Britain. But, Arjuna, final thoughts for today. Spa-Francorchamps, it showed us plenty of excitement, but had big consequences in terms of the championship.
We knew this would be circled as a title definer. I don't think we expected what we saw here today, though. Pinto struggling, Colin struggling. Job, until the very end, looked like he might insert himself back into the mix. But we leave the Ardennes with Jordan Caruso, a full, perfect race weekend clear of the rest of the chasing pack.
Well, we are going to be seeing you in 2 weeks' time then for the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup. It was a day of firsts. It was a first ever win for Alessandro Bico in the sprint race. It was a first ever main race win for Jordan Caruso as he helps himself to be at the front of the championship. Until next time, from everybody here, it's goodbye.